This program is being brought to you as an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Now let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves. Tony Fitzpatrick trying to wake himself up a little bit in the sidelines. We may see him back in this ball game very soon, knocked unconscious just a few minutes ago. Hebert fires it out, intended there for Lacey out of the backfield, hit him in the hands. You can tell the fans here in Detroit aren't real happy with Lacey, not really complaining there about the fact that he dropped the football, but by the fact that he's going to be leaving the Michigan Panthers next year.
Eric Scoggins, the outside linebacker on that play, if he had looked up, he might have had an interception. You have to look at this Houston defense now. They're 6th against the rush, but they're 18th against the pass. As you look at Bobby Hebert's statistics, a lot of that yardage came in the last game that they played against Houston. Hebert had a big day.
Bobby Hebert, the MVP in that championship game, the first ever championship game of the USFL last summer. Broughton in motion. You've got Allen and Holloway coming out right side. Hebert in trouble. Somehow sneaks away, being chased way back there. Gets it off. Almost caught out there by Mike Cobb, the tight end at the 40-yard line. Hebert was lucky to get that ball away.
Kind of an oddity here. He had a safety chasing him. Watch Hebert drop back. Now his protection breaks down almost immediately, but Bobby shows you a little bit of what they say Jim Kelly has. Look at the mobility and the strength as he pulls away, and watch his backside. That's a safety. Hollis Hall chased him in the backfield, and almost a completion there. It's a good defensive play by number 31 for Houston.
Good athletic ability shown out there by the quarterback, Hebert. Here's the punt for Michigan. David Greenwood barely gets it away. Ricky Sanders going to receive at the 10 and brought down immediately at the 14-yard line by Michigan. So the Houston will take over on the 15-yard line, 37-yard punt, a return of 4. First and 10, 14-yard line for Houston. Kelly in trouble. Is he going to make it out? No. Tackle at the 16-yard line. John Banaszak is in there along with Michigan defense tackle David Tipton.
You wonder how to stop Houston's offense. That's the way to do it. You've got to stop Jim Kelly from getting outside, giving him time to read. Michigan knows that. Only problem is nobody's been able to stop him from getting in the end zone all year. However, Kelly has been sacked 43 times. You can make it 44 on that play. And when you throw it up as much as he does, you're going to go down and turn the ball over.
You know, Kevin, talking yesterday to June Jones, the receivers coach for Houston, he said when Kelly has a better understanding of this offense, he is really going to be something. Last week, 37 of 50 through the air. He said he could have had 45 or 46 completions. Kelly, quick pass. Complete out there to Richard Johnson, the slot back. Ron Osborne makes the tackle. It's first and 10 for Houston, 28-yard line. You see that kind of a play often, won't you, Kelly?
Well, let's take a look at why this play works. Greenwood is in a zone here. Now, he's the key man. Watch him. The object of the offense is to go where the defense isn't. Now, take a look at Johnson. He sees Greenwood. He goes into the seam. Greenwood has a shot at him, doesn't get his head in front, and misses the tackle. Johnson picks up another 5 yards. In fact, Greenwood's still down. He's injured. He banged his head, and one of the reasons for that is he ducked his head. And you don't want to duck your head. You want to, of course, I don't know if I should be telling an All-American here and an All-USFL, but you don't want to duck your head. You want to keep your head up, see where that ball carrier is, and wrap your arms around it. Let's take another look at this thing with Greenwood. Now, watch his head. Watch Greenwood's head now. He ducks it right there. Yeah, and the top of your head is not what you see. The top of his head hits him in the leg. That's not what you make the tackle with. You want to get the head in front to get those arms around him. This is the result, and I'll tell you what, you don't want to lose this guy. He's an outstanding performer.
Perhaps the best defensive player for Michigan. Some say the best defensive player in the USFL. David Greenwood, former All-American for Wisconsin. Kelly, intercepted. Great play. That's John Corker, 37-yard line. Two turnovers for Kelly, and the reason is he's thrown into coverage here. Corker is a great blitzer, but he's also very quick, and he gets back in coverage. Look at him, the left corner of your screen, number 57. Kelly sees the coverage. Now that man's coverage. Got a man behind him.
That would have been almost an impossible pass to complete, and you can see he didn't complete it. Corker gets his hand up. He's a big guy, makes the interception. All USFL Defensive Player of the Year last year, John Corker from Michigan.
Sensational play by Corker. And Kelly, so far, having his problems here in the first quarter. 5:11 to go. Michigan with the football, 39-yard line of Houston. There is no score. Bobby Hebert, the quarterback. Gives it off. That's Lacey. Finds some room to the 30, 25, 23-yard line. Hosea Taylor makes the stop, and a good hole opened up by that line for Ken Lacey. In the 4-3 defense, you've got to contain it, get that middle linebacker outside, and also the end can't get shut down inside. That's what happened on that play. The end got shut down. Scoggins didn't do a bad job. He kept contained, but there was a lane for Lacey, and he picked up some good yardage. Lacey this year, 64 for 306 yards, 4.8-yard average. There's Bobby Hebert's stat. Had a fine game last week against New Jersey, except for the interceptions. Threw up 3 of them. Bobby scrambling, looking for Broadman, or Holloway, I should say, at the 11-yard line. Another first down for Michigan.
That was an unbelievable job by Derek Holloway. As he came inside, the route was inside, he was covered, and he scrambled back outside when he saw Hebert come outside, and he made the reception. That's a tremendous play. As you see Hebert go back, it's a fake, and he wants to throw to Holloway right now, see, but Holloway was covered. And what Holloway did, he went down the field and cut back outside. Hebert scrambled. That's great teamwork as they make the completion, and he gets out of bounds.
Hebert today showing some excellent maneuverability in the backfield. The crowd coming alive. 11-yard line for Michigan. Mike Cobb in motion. There's some movement on the offensive line. I believe it was Tony Osmond, the right side, Kevin. There's a flag on the play. Well, you got to see what it is.
Excuse me, Corey. You got to drive Jim Stanley crazy. They had 5 offsides penalties last week against New Jersey.
Number 75 on the offense, first down. It was Tony Osmond, the right tackle out of Michigan.
Well, you see him right there, and he just forgot the snap count. Don't know what he was thinking about, and this is the type of thing that's hurt Michigan. Hurt them constantly in this 4-game losing streak, and they just simply have to cut that stuff out.
Cost them 5 yards. Ball on the 16-yard line. Williams going left side, drives across the 15 to about the 13-yard line. Radonai in there along with Tommy Myers.
Have to remember that this Michigan offensive line is considered, along with Philadelphia, to be the strongest in all of the United States Football League. Let's take a look at the outside linebacker here, Hawkins. As you can see, a lot of maroon here coming after Hawkins, and Williams sees it, and he'll cut up inside and get a couple of yards. Now they have to go back to that 5-yard penalty. It not only cost them 5 yards, cost them a little bit of momentum, and that can sometimes hurt worse than the yardage.
2nd and 13. That's Broadman, 24 in motion. Hebert going to toss it out there. That is Lacey for the touchdown. All alone, nobody within 5 yards, and Michigan is on the board.
There was not a defensive back on that side of the field, and there was not a defensive back on that side of the field, and there wasn't a linebacker either. In a 4-3, the man out of the backfield generally belongs to a linebacker, but that's a blitz, man-to-man. Somebody's got to pick him up. If you let a back out of the backfield on a blitz, then you got to get to the quarterback. Obviously, they didn't, and it's a touchdown.
Jovic is in for the extra point. It is good. His 34th consecutive point after touchdown. Michigan is on the board. 7-0. 13-yard pass from Hebert to Lacey. More football from the Silverdome coming up in just a moment.
Happley in New York, and here's a rare look at a phenomenon not frequently seen in the USFL, the Herschel Walker breakaway run. The blocks on the right side of the line by Millard and Harris. And then Walker broke one tackle, and in the first quarter at New Jersey, he has gone 62 yards for the touchdown that has given the Generals a 14-0 lead over Oklahoma, and back to Michigan now.
No, Herschel last week against Michigan only rushed for 44 yards in one play. He's got him more. Had that sore shoulder last week. Jovic kicks off. Verdun, 20-yard line maybe. No, he's stripped up there. Good special teams performance. Brought down at the 18-yard line. Return of 18 yards. Here's the interception that set up the touchdown pass a few moments ago. Kelly on the roll, going to toss it out. Corker makes a great play, doesn't he, Kevin? Well, sometimes we forget after the touchdown what sets up the touchdown. Us defensive players like to remember these things. Of course, it led to this play, broken coverage by Houston. They are 18th in the league in pass coverage. Here's the example why, as Lacey picks it up, goes in for a touchdown. 7-0, the Panthers in front. Jim Kelly has 2 interceptions already here in the first quarter. 3:02 to go. Kelly, quick pass going for McGee. Bad throw. Chapman knocks McGee down, and Kelly just does not look sharp so far today. Well, that's another way to stop the Houston offense. He's fair game once that ball passes him. Knocks him on his butt, and I'll tell you, do enough of that, and you'll stop him. Got a sideline for a moment, and Jim Paschke. Jim?
All right, Calvin Eason, defensive back. You've had some problems on coverages. What happened in the rotation?
Okay, we're playing a flow sort of coverage, and a free safety and the linebacker were playing a little in and out. They mixed us up in the crossing pattern, and linebacker didn't get out there.
Okay, they're going to have to improve on that.
That ball was intended for Johnson out there, incomplete. Tom Moriarty made the hit. Set up a 3rd and 10 play for the Gamblers and Jim Kelly.
Try to understand this offense that Houston runs. That's the scoring drive, last scoring drive by Michigan. You have to understand that in the huddle, the only thing they call are blocking assignments, and then they'll call a load or a rip, which is the motion, which way the motion goes. Everybody reads at the line of scrimmage, and they read the defense.
Kelly got some pressure. He's brought down. Larry Bethea makes the hit. Had 5.5 sacks coming into the game. And the Gamblers will have to punt it away.
It's a big series for Michigan as you see John Corker coming off the field. He's the defensive leader. This is a big offensive team, Houston. They lead the league in total offense. To score and then shut them down like that will give the Panthers a big lift.
That's Walter Broughton back to receive this punt. Dale Walters. Walter's going to get it off barely. Long punt, far side. Out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. Quite a punt from Walters. Wow. 2:19 to go, first quarter. It's 7-0 Michigan. Houston's offense, the number 1 offense in the USFL, averaging 402 yards per game. So far, having their problems. Jack Pardee has to be concerned. Michigan with the football once again on their own 39-yard line. 2:19 to go, 7-0. The Panthers in front. Bobby Hebert so far has looked impressive. The fans here at the Silverdome are enjoying themselves so far. Hebert fakes the handoff to Williams, tosses it out. That is Lacey, almost up to midfield before he's driven out of bounds by Calvin Eason. And Hebert is using his running backs a lot today, both Lacey and Williams.
He is, and in order to stop that type of thing, you have to get a pass rush. Let's take a look at Fitzpatrick. He's back in the game and see what kind of a pass rush he gets. He's only a little guy with a nose guard in college, 243 pounds. He tries that slap move, Doesn't work because he's working against an ex-Super Bowler. That's Pinney, and that's the result. That's why Lacey can get out, because they've got to get pressure on Hebert and make him keep those backs in the backfield. Unless Fitzpatrick can do better than that, you'll see Lacey in the pass pattern a lot today.
5th first down of the afternoon for Michigan via the pass. They have 1 via the rush at midfield. Broughton in motion. Hebert looking out there for Broughton. Incomplete pass at the 40-yard line. Eason supplying the coverage. Broughton's the guy, Kevin, a few weeks ago who injured his shoulder giving a high five. Remember that?
I don't know what to say about that.
Walter says he's a little more careful about how he gives his high fives these days.
Are you allowed to give a high five with your left hand? I don't know.
Well, he can, but he hurt his right shoulder, you see, so his left is okay, I guess.
Okay.
2nd and 10. Midfield. Hebert so far today 5 of 9 for 62 yards and a touchdown. Got Broughton, 42-yard line. Hollis Hall makes the stop, and Hebert continues to impress.
Well, Hebert's picking his receivers. In a lot of ways, you have to think that maybe the loss of Anthony Carter in the long run will make Hebert a better quarterback. Anthony's the type of guy, he's such a good receiver, you can begin to depend on him. When you lose him, you go through a learning process all over again. Hebert has been going through that process for the last 4 weeks, and it's been a painful one, but he may be coming out of it and learning how to check off to other receivers.
The San Antonio-Chicago score. The Blitz continue to have their problems. 17-zip in the 3rd quarter. The Gunslingers lead. Hebert's had 11 interceptions in the past 4 games, and perhaps today he is working himself out of that slump. 3rd and 2. That is Lacey. Going to be very close. Just pounded it up the middle. Had a couple of tight ends that time. Not sure if they made it, but that kind of thing is what Michigan's offensive line can certainly do for you, with their kind of experience and their power and size.
Well, those guys across the front are 250, 267, 265, 256, and 255, and then throw Lacey in there at 220, and it could be a long day for a linebacker. That guy, when he gets a foot off the ground and puts his head down, it's tough to stop him.
The crowd reaction you hear, they want Michigan to go for it. 4th and short.
Got to consider the offense you're playing against now. You give them field possession, they can strike from anywhere on the field, the position. It'll be interesting to see what they do. They're going to go for it.
What do you think? Williams up the middle here, Kevin?
Well, it'll either be that or a sneak against this 4-3.
4th and less than 1. Hebert going to sneak it. I believe he has it. We'll see where the official places the football, but it looks as if they made the forward progress for the first down across the 40-yard line. Tyrone McGriff leading the way along with Wayne Radloff.
Some of you at home may wonder why they run quarterback sneaks in that situation. There's a couple of reasons. As you see, it's a first down for Michigan. One reason is it doesn't take any time. You don't have to turn around and hand the ball off, give the defense time to react. The other is, if an offensive lineman moves and vacates the spot, he gives you room to fall down forward. And that's quite often what a quarterback will do. He doesn't really run. He'll just fall into that space vacated by his guard or center, and he'll get a first down. That's what you saw Hebert do on that play.
Less than 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. 1st and 10 at the 40 for the Panthers. Fakes the draw to Lacey. Going mid-range there and underthrows his man. That is Holloway at about the 18-yard line. This was not thrown as far as it should have been.
That was a timing pattern to Holloway, and he was trying to back the defensive player up and come back and get the ball. He drove him off, but he just never did get back. Let's take a look at Holloway here as we see him on isolation. What he's trying to do is drive that defensive player back as far as he can. Now, Hebert has got to judge exactly where he's going to throw the ball, but you see as he turns, the ball's short, and Holloway just can't get back to get it. The pattern was good. The ball needed to be thrown a little further.
15 seconds to go as you see the scoreboard. Allen Broughton in the backfield. He's running out, but the give is to Lacey. Drop play, big opening across the 30. Gets by one man, brought down 27-yard line. A good tackle by Mike Mitchell. Good call and a good run by Lacey down to the 27-yard line of Houston. Huge opening. Listen in now.
Number 78 on the defense. Decline. First down.
Obviously declined the encroachment against Cleveland Crosby.
Cleveland Crosby was lined up offsides before the ball. I could see it from here. We're sitting right about the 40-yard line, and Cleveland Crosby was lined up in the neutral zone. That's generally the first thing you learn in football, that you don't want to line up on the other side of the ball. That can cause you a problem. Is that us, Kev? I don't know. Who's that handsome guy on the left?
I'm not sure. You know, the thing about it is, a lot of times they just don't know. They're not paying attention, not concentrating.
Supposed to pay attention.
It's an inexcusable penalty. Hebert looking, throwing incomplete, and I'm sure he's glad he threw that ball short, because a little higher, and Will Lewis with a shot of interception at about the 18-yard line.
That was great defense there. Houston is... I don't want to beat on it, but they are last. But that was an example of good defense by a cornerback. He didn't bite on it. You're right. If that ball wasn't thrown away, it was a good shot at an interception. Will Lewis out of Millersville State. You'll see a lot of players in this league from the little schools, and I think that's great. A lot of times they don't get a look, and when you have expansion like this, it really helps the little guy get a shot to play professional football.
Yeah, I'm going to put you on the spot. Where is Millersville?
About 20 miles down the road from Millerstown.
That's what I thought. I thought it was a little north there for him. 6 seconds to go, first quarter, 2nd and 10. I believe too much time. It's a long count.
This penalty thing for Michigan. What it
led the game, number 12 on the offense, 2nd down.
Okay, what it does, number 12, of course, is the quarterback, and he's automatically called on that penalty. It destroys the timing. You get into a flow, ba-boom, 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 you're moving down the field, and all of a sudden you get a penalty. Everybody gets a little bit annoyed, and it destroys your concentration and your flow, and it's something that great football teams don't do, and I know Jim Stanley is worried about it.
To the 20. Good decision by Hebert. 3 yards away from the first down. Also a flag. Might have been a late hit.
Houston defense getting a little frustrated. When they do things right, they're still getting hurt. And here they did things right. They got great coverage on the number 1 receiver on the field for Michigan. That's Holloway. Personal foul call right there on the Houston team. A late hit on Hebert. It was outstanding coverage downfield, but Hebert, a smart quarterback. He's played for 2 years now as a pro, and look at him. It opens up like a can opener, and off he goes down the field, picks up good yardage. That's the end of the quarter.
Bobby Hebert, good decision, got his ball club down to about the 20-yard line. The Panthers fans are enjoying themselves at the Silver Dome today. Michigan leads 7-0, and they are driving for more. After 1 quarter, you see the score. Back with more in a moment. The Panthers and the Gamblers at the Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan, battling for the lead in the Central Division of the Western Conference. Michigan leads 7-0, threatening to score again. 1st and goal, 9-yard line with the penalty attached. And the roughing against Hebert. Walter Broughton and Derek Holloway, the wide receivers. Going to dump it out to Lacey. He's got a great catch, 5-yard line. Goes down immediately. Calvin Eason is there. That's the same kind of a play that worked for a touchdown a little earlier. First quarter stats, and the one thing that sticks out is Houston is leading in passing yardage, 77-70. But the problem is the 2 turnovers by Kelly, and that's the difference.
Well, that's why statistics are so misleading. That 77 yards came primarily on that first drive, as well as the 4 first down. The big one is the 2 in the yellow there. That's Kelly's 2 interceptions. Took him and his offense off the field twice.
Second and about 5. Williams tripped up at the line. Diala goes in, makes the hit. Number 1 tackler for Houston.
Gamblers had a goal line stand last week against Los Angeles. They held them twice inside the 1-yard line. And again, defensive and offensive philosophies change when you get down inside the 20 and the 10 and the 5-yard line. So a team that's maybe last in the rush or poor against the pass in the middle of the field, maybe that's not so when you get to goal line defense. They may be a lot better.
3rd and goal. Needless to say, a big play. Bear going to throw, look out. Throws it in a hurry, touchdown, Michigan. The blitz was on. Bear gets rid of it in a hurry to Walter Broughton from 5 yards out. His 4th touchdown reception of the year.
I guess everything's a game of inches. Look at the blitz here. Bear, great concentration. He can feel tremendous block there on the blitzing safety or cornerback. Bear puts it right in the belly of the receiver for a touchdown. Take a look at it now from the end zone. This is the way the defense would see it, and they wouldn't be too happy with seeing it that way. Touchdown.
Point is good. And Michigan is rolling. We are early in the 2nd quarter. And the Panthers lead it 14-0. Houston's offense yet to get on track.
Philadelphia is hot in Birmingham. This is Jim Lampley in New York. And take a look at this Herbert Harris touchdown from Chuck Fusina. Into the hands of Harris, out of the hands of Harris. Ricky Ray, the defensive back, touched it. Harris took it back, went in from 51 yards out, and the Stars, shockingly, lead Birmingham 17-0 in the 2nd. Back to Corey McPherrin.
That was a wild play. Philadelphia and Birmingham going at it in Birmingham to kick off. Leovic in the end zone. That is dropped by Calvin Eason. Picks it up 10-yard, 15-yard line across the 20. And Eason alertly picks up the football. Let's go down now to the sidelines. And Jim Paschke. Jim.
Broughton down here. Why was that a safe play on the touchdown against the blitz?
Oh, well, we designed the play, well, to control the blitz. You know, if they do blitz, it's in a man-to-man coverage, and we think our receivers can outbeat the defensive back man-to-man. And if it's not a blitz, you know, we still got a good play as far as hooking it up, and Bobby's laid the ball right there for me.
Well, you're up by 14. Back to the booth, Corey.
Thank you, Jim. Houston. Got to do a few things here. Sanders in motion. We got to keep the football for one thing. Kelly gives it out to Dennis Sanders. Spins off one man. Tries to make another move. Can't do it. Down to the 22-yard line. Ray Bentley, the linebacker, is there to make the stop. Fine scoring drive for Michigan. 12 plays, 61 yards. Takes almost 4 minutes. Officially a 4-yard touchdown pass from Bear to Broughton, as we mentioned, for Broughton's 4th reception for touchdown on the year.
A point about Kelly's interceptions. There are interceptions and there are bad interceptions that the quarterback is responsible for. Both of those interceptions he threw, he was responsible for. He's got to be a little shaken up here in the 2nd quarter.
2nd and 8. Kelly out there, overthrown, in fact, almost picked off by Clarence Chapman, the intended receiver. Was Richard Johnson, the slot back. Well, Kelly overthrown.
Excuse me, Corey. This is a play that they run to get Johnson free. They'll put him in motion from the far side. We're picking him up middle of the motion here, and now he's got the seam, and this is what he's trying to do. He's trying to get past the defender to the seam, but Kelly has been overthrowing this pattern. See, now if he gets him a little quicker and hits him, he can go with it, but he threw it a little bit deep, and the defender almost came up with it. We'll see that again today, that pattern.
Kevin, Tom Moriarty is in the game now at strong safety in place of David Greenwood. Greenwood has a calf injury. We saw him leave the field a few minutes ago. It's uncertain if he will return. If not, Leovic, by the way, will do the punting. 3rd and 9. Jim Kelly and the Gamblers. Got some time. Pumps once, gets away from one man, and this time he will not escape. Number 79, Larry Bethea, former Dallas Cowboy, his 2nd sack of the day. We've heard about the rush helping out the defensive back. In this case, it was the defensive back that helped
sniffed out the rush. Great coverage by the Michigan team, a super job, and they allowed the defensive rush to finally get to Kelly.
Walters, the punt. Broughton will receive at the 43-yard line of Houston. So that's where of Michigan, I should say. That's where they're taken over again. Houston trailing 14-0. And once again, Michigan has the football. They are controlling the game so far. 43-yard line. Hey, they're going to put it up. That's Cobb, the tight end. Good coverage from Calvin Eason at midfield.
They wanted interference penalty on that. There was contact, but again, it's up to the official. We'll take a look here as Hebert goes back to pass on first down. They're throwing on first down against this team, last in the league in pass defense, and you can be the judge. They both have a right to the ball. From that angle, it's very difficult to tell, but we'll have to put our faith in the official there and give Michigan a 2nd and 10.
It's the right answer, I think, Kev.
Yeah.
Very close. 2nd and 10. 11:13 to go here in the first half. 14-zip. Michigan. Hebert plenty of time. Again, this time it is picked off. That is Mitchell, number 35, across the 45 to the 42-yard line. First interception of the day against Hebert. Suddenly Houston has the ball in good field position.
One of the things the coaches say to you when you get an interception is, don't give it back, don't give it back. They're paranoid that you're going to throw an interception. Hebert should never have thrown this ball. It's great coverage by Mitchell. He's looking right at him all the way. And look at Mitchell. He looks like the receiver. He's in great position. Don't let go of the ball. Find somebody else or throw it out of bounds. That's the learning experience for Bobby Hebert right there.
4th time this year, Mitchell's picked one off. Kelly in the Gamblers offense going to get a chance to try it again. Kelly, good block from Fowler. Good timing here this time. And this time overthrows, intended for McNeil at about the 40. Bounced off his hands. Bobby Hebert, as we mentioned, has had some problems the past several games during the losing streak. This would be his 12th interception in the past, including this game, his 5th game.
Well, it does get to you. There's no question about it. Especially when you're winning. It's almost in an even game. It doesn't seem so bad. Of course, it's bad when you're losing. But when you're winning like that, you don't want to give them a chance. You don't want, certainly don't want to get this offense back on the field. These guys, if they can strike from anywhere.
Kelly, draw play. That's Fowler across the 40, brought down 38-yard line. Larry Bethea is the man to make the tackle. And that's the kind of running play that Houston will give you most of the time, the draw play.
That is the running play.
That is it, yeah.
They've run one other time that I've counted today. They ran, if you can believe this, they ran once last week, one legitimate running play. Draw is a good play for this team because they pass on every down. The key for the linebacker on that is you have to wait till the quarterback passes the back before you drop back in pass coverage. If he's still got the ball, he's going to throw it. If he doesn't, the back's got it. You got to come up and get it.
3rd and 6. See if Kelly can pull it off this time. Rolls to his left. Pumps once. Twice. He's got a man. That is Sanders. 10-yard line. 5. He's still on his feet. Touchdown. Houston.
Well, I tell you, this is a great offensive play. John Corker, the USFL Defensive Player of the Year, is the culprit on this. He's the guy that gets beat, number 57. He has this thing sniffed out from the start. He starts dropping back before they even snap the ball. Now look at him. He knows what's going to happen. He's in position here, but he gets suckered on the pump. Kelly pumps. Sanders gets behind him, and that, you're right, John, that's your man. And he chases him down the field. Sanders, great move there, spinning move, and he gets in for a touchdown, a terrific isolation. And John Corker will remember that one as well as he remembers the interception he had earlier.
I think Ron Osborne, number 23, may recall it too. He missed the tackle at about the 5-yard line. 37 yards on that play. And as you mentioned, Kevin, this Michigan team, or the Houston team, I should say, can strike at any time. The extra point is good, and suddenly we've got ourselves a 14-7 ball game. We're going to see a lot more points before it's over. One more time. Let's look at it. Kelly to Sanders. Sanders, number 3 receiver in the USFL. And Kevin, as you say, John Corker will recall this for some time.
Well, it was the pump. When you got a guy who's aggressive and fast like Corker and you pump, he's going for the interception. You know he is. And Kelly just used it against him there as Sanders goes into the end zone. That's a great offense. That's going to make Corker a little bit tentative here for the remainder of the half.
Good spin move by Sanders, who coming into the game had 620 yards in receiving. He's a good one. You recognize that man? Number 16, Tony Fritz. He's been through the NFL for 16 seasons. Squib kick. Up the middle. 33-yard line. That is Moriarty. Tom Moriarty grabbed that ball. Pretty good. Let's go now to Jim Paschke on the sidelines. Jim.
Corey, part of the defensive problems for the Michigan Panthers on the interception and on the touchdown is the fact that the heart and soul of the defense, David Greenwood, was not on the field. He has a bruised left lower leg, and he is expected to be back. He's in the training room right now receiving treatment.
All right, Jim, thank you. Jim Stanley, Michigan Panthers head coach. Hebert to Lacey, trying to turn the corner, 35-yard line, pushed out at the 40. Will Lewis, number 24, is the man to shove him out. Talking about Stanley, you might not know, Kevin, but Stanley and Jack Pardee went to college together back at Texas A&M in the mid-50s.
Both played for the Bear.
The Bear Bryant. That's right.
And John David Crow, there's Jackie. John David Crow, great running back in the National Football League for many years. Knew both of them, played with both of them, and he said they're two of the toughest guys he's ever met. They're tough. And they're both defensive people with great offense.
Pardee, of course, the linebacker. Stanley was a guard, offensive guard. Second, and about 4 for Michigan. That's Lacey trying to go outside, rising close to the first down at the far side of the field.
You'll notice they came back with 2 running plays, and that's generally a conservative coach or a conservative program will do that. When a quarterback throws interceptions, they'll come back with a couple of running plays. Hebert, of course, threw an interception that led to the last touchdown, the first touchdown for Houston. So a lot of times they'll get him back in the game, let him settle down a little bit, hand the ball off. And in this case, they've been successful. They're third and very, very short yardage.
And we may see a third and 1 situation. Our third consecutive running play. Williams is hit hard behind the line of scrimmage. That is Hosea Taylor, number 93, celebrating in the backfield. Michigan going to have to punt it away as Hosea comes up with a big defensive play.
Remember, we talked about why you run. Take a look at that score. Philadelphia Stars, both 9-1, clobbering Birmingham in the second quarter, 20-0. Back to what I was saying, we talked about why you run a quarterback sneak, because it takes time to hand it off. You give that defense time to react. Hosea Taylor took the gap on that play, and the result is they're going to get the ball back. Houston.
Jovic to punt. He is normally the kicker. Greenwood is out. There are flags on the play. At the line of scrimmage, might have been some contact before the snap. Perhaps the procedure.
Well, the Houston player jumped, but he's allowed to jump if he gets back.
Right.
He can jump into the neutral zone. The offensive player has to sit. They have to wait no matter what happens. See, so they're going to call procedure on the offensive player. A lot of defenses will be taught. False start, number 20 on the offense, 4th down. A lot of defenses will be taught to do that, try to shake up the offensive player and get a procedure penalty on it.
Again, that's McNeil back to receive. But Jovic, the kicker, got to be a little nervous about this. Hunts it up, does a good job. In fact, a tremendous kick. Driving McNeil back to the 10-yard line. It bounces inside the 10. Wow, what a play.
If you think these people don't know their football, they're aware that David David Greenwood is next to last in the USFL in punting, and Novo comes in there and jacks one down inside the 10-yard line, and they can appreciate it. Those are people that know their stats. And look at McNeil. Watch McNeil. He's thinking about going after it after it bounces, and he says, "Now I'll just make a block here and let him go get it."
Novo is a native of Yugoslavia, very popular here in the Detroit area. 59 yards on that punt. He may have a regular job pretty soon.
They must punt in Yugoslavia.
The crowd is fired up. That is a new Panther record, incidentally, on that punt. Kelly gives it out. That is Johnson, nabbed at the 7-yard line. The tackle by Moriarty is in the game, replacing Greenwood, who's yet to reappear. Johnson, the leading receiver in the USFL, caught 15 passes last week and has really not been much of a factor so far.
If you think about this offense for Houston, the fact that they don't run and consider their field position, this is a very difficult situation for the Houston Gambler offense. These guys have simply, there's the man that put them in there. They've got to be very careful throwing the ball down here.
Let's go! Let's go! Come on, baby!
You gotta love that. Kelly flips it out. Sanders out of bounds. John Corker chases him out about 4 yards short of the first.
That was the same play to the other side, that little swing pass, and that must be their offense when they're caught in this situation. Darrell Davis looks good in the middle of the field, and that offense is great and moves the ball, but you don't want guys to punt the ball inside the 10-yard line. Jim Kelly thinking about it here. He's got a 3rd and short. This is normally a running play in this situation. Let's see what Houston comes up with. 3rd and about 3.
Listen to the crowd. Kelly got his man almost to the 30-yard line. That is Moser, a flanker out of Oregon. Suddenly the crowd is quiet.
And a great catch by Moser, and that was set up by, you know, in pass patterns, you have to understand what happens is you're trying to fill up areas. When you send one man outside, you're going to send another man inside. What they did on that play, they sent Johnson in motion, and they swung him out into the flat. We'll take a look at him here. Now, you're not going to see the man catch the ball, but what he does is hold the cornerback and opens up that seam, and Moser makes the great catch to the right of your screen. But see, that's what happens. They'll send a man out and a man in, and they'll try to get the defense to commit somewhere so they can find that hole. Worked on that play.
Jim Kelly and the Gamblers out of their hole. 6:08 to go, second period. 14-7 they trail. Kelly gives it off. That is Johnson, tripped up on the far side by Tom Moriarty. Let's head down to the field now and see what Jim Paskey is up to. Jim?
Corey, I just have one simple question for Novo. Where have you been hiding those punts?
Really, I never work at it like on the place kicking. See, I'm not consistent on the punting as much as I'm on the place kicking. I can punt if I work at it, but see, like I'm not consistent in punting. But they use me for a backup on it, so I'm just trying to do my best job in here. So so far it's pretty good, so I just got to keep doing that.
I know the real answer. You married one of the cheerleaders and you were showing her what you could do, right?
Right, that's it. You got to do everything in here. This is that kind of business. You got to be both punter and the place kicker, so I'm trying to do the best.
59 yards, a nice punt.
Thank you.
Novo can retire with that average, huh? Kelly. Sanders again. This time he can't quite handle it. Corker was over there to give him some trouble.
Let me give you some numbers. Ricky Sanders, 5'11", 172 pounds. The guy coming down on him, John Corker, 6'6", 235 to 240 pounds. I personally can't blame old Ricky for not catching that one. Could have been a rough afternoon if he did.
In fact, Kevin, look at all these slot backs and receivers for Houston. You got a guy like Sanders. You mentioned his size, 5'11", 170. Gerald McNeil, wide receiver, is listed at 5'8", 140, which means he's 5'7", 132. They got some little people. Richard Johnson, 5'9", 185. See what Kelly comes up with here. 3rd and 6. 3rd down conversions. They are 4 of 6. Kelly got some pressure. He's going to go down. Alan Hughes, the back end. The backup left end makes the tackle as Kelly was unable to escape, and they're going to have to punt it away to Michigan.
I'll tell you what Michigan is doing against Houston. They're coming as soon as Kelly takes a step to one side or the other. They're driving from the outside to try to cut down his pocket. They're doing a great job of it. They're making Kelly stand up and throw the ball immediately or get sacked. And that's why he was sacked.
so far today, about 5 yards over his average. Short punt, good roll though. 25-yard line, rolls inside the 20. Now to about the 60-yard line where it's down. And that is where Michigan will take over once again with 4:57 to go. Less than 5 minutes remain in the first half. A 14-7 ball game. Michigan leads by a touchdown. At the beginning of the broadcast, Kevin, we mentioned we would see some points, some fireworks, some offense, perhaps not as many points as we anticipated thus far. We have seen plenty of action. A little confusion in the backfield, but he gets away somehow, still at his feet, being chased by Crosby. Comes near side, unbelievable. Hebert going to run across the 20 to 24-yard line. Talk about a man with his wits together, huh?
Well, I'll tell you, let's take a look at number 62, the middle guard, Tony Fitzpatrick. This is an over defense. He's playing right on the center. Now, his responsibility here is to look out for the draw. He's just standing there. He's watching Hebert. Now, look at him go along the line of scrimmage. Hebert gets loose. He goes down, hits the ref, hits Penny, and take a look at who comes into the picture now, Hebert. And that's a tackle for Fitzpatrick, but I'll tell you, the play came to him. He didn't go to the play.
Second and about 3. They're a marvelous performance from Bobby Hebert. Not to mention Tony Fitzpatrick. Williams slides across for the first down, maintains his balance to about the 31-yard line. Hollis Hall gets credit for the tackle.
Remember what I said about these teams? They're tough coaches. Both of them have tough coaches. They're also very tough teams. The offensive line for Michigan and the offensive backs reflect that man's philosophy. He was taught by Bear Bryant and obviously taught, well, these guys are tough. You see the way John Williams ran that play? He just ran over people.
This program being brought to you as an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
This is WFAA TV, Channel 8, Dallas, Fort Worth.
Flag on the play, as you can see, before the play even got underway. It's like procedure against the offense.
They're just killing themselves with these penalties. These are small penalties, but you see how they get gunned up and they're playing tough like I said?
Start. The offensive line, still first down.
And that was he said the offensive line, that was the entire left side of the line. They went on first down, and everybody jumped off sides. And I don't know why that would happen, except that maybe they can't hear him in the huddle, but they should say something about it. That just disrupts everything. Gets the team's momentum down, and their heads down, and offside penalties should never happen. Never happen in football.
Thank you, Coach. Second down. Make it first down. 15 to go after the 5-yard penalty. Brought on the near side again. We have movement. We have flag. Get a little sloppy.
That was Delafiore on the right side again. He picked up off start. Number 78 on the offense. Still first down. You want an explanation? I can't give you an explanation for that. You get offsides, you go back in the huddle, you say, come on, guys, let's not do it. Stanley, he doesn't even know what to say. What can you say? And here comes Delafiore. I guess that's what you can say. Delafiore is off the field.
Don't know if I'd be wanting to come out of the game at that point to talk to the coach.
Don't worry, he won't talk to you.
Instead of first and 15, it's now first and 20. Oswin came in to replace Delafiore. Hebert fires, got Broughton at the 25-yard line. Hall takes him down at the 27.
Broughton lined up in the backfield. He's 5'10", 173 pounds. You know he's not going to run with the ball. They put him back there so he can run in motion. What he did, he ran a circle pattern and just beat the defender across the field and picked up about 8 or 9 yards. Still a long way to go, though, for that first down.
See the time moving down, close to the 2-minute mark. to Broughton again, 35-yard line. They are short to the first by 5 yards. Set up a third down play. We've got 2 minutes to go in the first half. Our score, Michigan 14 and Houston 7. Final 2 minutes of the first half coming up after this. 14-7 our score. Michigan ahead by a touchdown. Third down and 5. Total yards so far, as you can see, very close. What kind of play Abear comes up with here. Third and 5 on his own 35-yard line. There's Holloway in motion towards the top of your screen. Plenty of time. Good protection again. This time almost caught out there by Holloway. I think there might have been some confusion, Kevin, about who that ball was intended for. Number 87, Anthony Allen, was out in isolation, and I'll tell you, Allen may have run the wrong pattern. Look at him. He gets away from the defender there, uses his hands, but watch him run into Holloway. Right in there, almost a pick, and who's the ball to? Holloway gets his hand on it. See that? Allen was ready to catch it, but Holloway put his hand on it, and there was no completion. Take a look at it from the end zone, and we'll take a look at the very end of this play. Look at Allen behind Holloway, ready to catch that. But Holloway didn't know he was back there. Could have easily been caught by Allen, obviously. Here's Novo. Leovic. Again, great pot. McNeil back at the 16. Good opening across the 30. 33-yard line before he's brought down by Hawkins. Corker, I should say. The 47-yard punt, and Novo is looking tough out there. There's Gerald McNeil.
Novo's going to be able to run for governor here if he gets another one of those off. That's been a big problem for Michigan is the punting. Greenwood was averaging about 36 yards, which is not good. And as I said, it was next to last in the league. Novo comes in, starts pumping them 45, 50 yards.
They've also had 3 of them blocked this year, and 2 of those have gone for touchdowns. Kelly talking it over with his offensive crew. He's got 1 minute and 43 to get some more points on the board. He trails by 7. Johnson in motion. That is the Johnson. Tries to move around. Loses a couple yards. Tom Moriarty trips him up at the 37-yard line.
This is the leading receiver in the United States Football League, and this is an interesting play. He goes in motion. He's already stopped. He had already been in motion. He stopped and set, and it's to him all the way. Kelly turns around, and Johnson's just cutting underneath the coverage. A little bit behind him, makes the catch.
Kelly, meanwhile, was caught from behind by Kyle Borland. Incomplete pass just moments ago. And Abear again calling home, I think, Kevin.
Well, Bobby's got to feel a little bad. They're up 14-0. They're in a game now. They weren't in such a close game before. It was 14-0. Bobby threw up that interception, that big one right there on the right of your screen. And Kelly got the guys in for a touchdown, and now it's a 1-touchdown game.
Minute 15 to go. 3rd and 6 for Kelly and the Gamblers. Kelly fires it out to Sanders. Not going to get it. Gained a couple, but Moriarty forces him out at about the 38-yard line. Had to make it up to about the 43. So it appears Houston will once again have to punt it away here on 4th down. Kelly and Sanders look like they have some kind of a disagreement about what that play was all about. That is Mouse Davis, Darrell Mouse Davis, the offensive coordinator for Houston, the man responsible for this run-and-shoot offense. In fact, he and Pardee actually work almost like co-head coaches.
The reason they may be disagreeing is because I think Sanders wanted Kelly to wait on that pass. He wanted, because Moriarty was coming up hard, he wanted to get behind him and have him throw it.
Walters the punt. It's a low punt, but deep. 13-yard line. That's it. So, with 1:05 to go, Michigan ahead 14-7. There is Jim Stanley, former head coach at Oklahoma State University, and before taking over here at Michigan in the USFL 2 years ago, was an assistant coach with the Atlanta Falcons. You never see a smile on Jim's face from the sideline.
Like I said, I hate to see him when he's real unhappy, but if that's his kind of look.
Hebert at the controls. Minute 5 to go. Michigan leads 14-7. Hebert, that's Cleo Miller on the draw. Cleo's got a little bit of room. Brought down at the 17, was not able to break that as he would have liked. Cleo's first carry of the game. Out of Arkansas, 5'11", 214. He's a veteran. Been around the league a few times. The NFL with Kansas City and Cleveland. As the clock ticks down here in the first half. Captain, will Hebert put it up here? Just be happy to run this first half out.
Against Houston, I think he'd run it out.
I think you're right. John Williams, right side, trying to power his way through past Calvin Eason. Not going to happen. Less than 15 seconds to go here in the first half. That may, in fact, be our final play of the first half. As the clock ticks down here at the Silverdome, and the fans here of the Michigan Panthers voice their approval. It's 14-7. Michigan leads Houston. We'll be back with today's halftime activity after this message and a word from our local station.
You who are at halftime of the Houston-Michigan game, and we'll bring you up to date now on what's happening elsewhere in the league. The key game today coming in between division leaders Philadelphia and Birmingham. If you've seen Birmingham this season, you know how well they were playing. You know about the 9-game winning streak they had coming into this ball game at home. Well, the bubble has burst as the first half was a near-perfect performance for the Philadelphia Stars. It started early. They got field position after a punt exchange. David Riley went in from 4 yards out, 7-0 Philadelphia. Then after a Trout field goal made it 10-0. Look at this. Justina down the middle to Herbert Harris, into the hands of Ricky Ray, out of the hands of Ricky Ray, and back to Harris. He went in from 51 yards. It was 17-0 Philly, and if they hadn't known it already, the Stallions knew then what kind of a day it was going to be. 2 more Trout field goals made it 23-0. Then just before halftime, Justina Defitsky from 12 yards out. At halftime, it is 30-0, the Stars over the Stallions. Good game going on in the New Jersey Meadowlands for about 3 minutes, and now that one has deteriorated into a rout also, as at halftime, New Jersey's on top of Oklahoma, 28-3, and here's a look at how it happened. Brian Sight got the Generals on the board at the end of their first possession, 13-yard touchdown pass to Sam Bowers. It was 7-0 New Jersey. Then moments later, Herschel Walker, who has not broken away much in the USFL, finally did so. 62-yard run down the right sideline. Walker already had 87 yards rushing in the game. They were about halfway through the first quarter, and it was 14-0 favor of the Generals. In the second quarter, New Jersey continued to pour it on. Sight first looks for tight end Jeff Speck, who has emerged as an outstanding receiver for the Generals. Speck goes 46 yards to move the Generals into scoring territory, and moments later, Sight scrambled, found Maurice Carthen in the end zone. Hard to tell whether Carthen was the intended receiver there, but the effect was the same anyway, 21-0 New Jersey. Then a Jim LeClaire interception against Doug Williams. Only interception Williams threw in the first half, nevertheless was a critical one, as that one put the Generals in good field position once again and set up Herschel Walker's second touchdown run of the day. From 2 yards out, that made it 28-0. Now it's 28-3. Herschel is well over 100 yards in that ball game, and Sight has also had a terrific game as he completed 11 of 13 passes. Chicago Blitz at San Antonio Gunslingers, 17-7 San Antonio at the half, and halftime in the Washington Federals game against the Memphis Showboats. The Federals, looking for their second win of the year, are on top of the Boats, 3-0 at the half. Monday night's game, of course, Arizona Wranglers against the New Orleans Breakers. The Breakers are getting a break today if Birmingham is beaten by, I should say, by Philadelphia. And one correction on the score I gave you earlier. I've just been told that Birmingham was able to squeeze in a field goal just before the half, so make the Philadelphia-Birmingham score 30-3 instead of 30-0. Arizona's Wranglers can move to within 2 games of the division-leading Denver Gold in the Pacific if they can put the hurt on New Orleans in the Louisiana Superdome tomorrow night.
14-7 our score. 2 touchdowns from Bobby Hebert to his receiving corps and 1 from Jim Kelly. Let's look at him. The first one comes in the first quarter of play. It's a 13-yard toss to Ken Lacey and Kevin Kiley. On this play, Lacey could not have been any more open.
Ken's got to be smiling right here because all he's looking at is the goal line, inside-outside coverage. Even Houston admitted they blew the coverage after the play, and that was the first touchdown. 7-0 at that point. Michigan leads.
Early second quarter. Hebert again. The blitz is on. Just gets it away in time to Walter Broughton. Watch it.
Watch the center. 55 Radloff. Look at the block he makes on the blitz. Gives Hebert the time he needs. And it looks like Michigan's going to run away with it. At that point, it was 14-0.
4-yard touchdown reception. Hebert to Broughton then. Jim Kelly and Ricky Sanders hook up. Watch the pump here coming up once, and then he'll throw it 37 yards. Great effort by Sanders.
Well, that's right, Corey. Key to the play was the pump and the run by Sanders. Never go for the head. It's a very small target. Chances are you're going to miss it as Sanders goes in for a touchdown.
Kelly to Ricky Sanders. That made the score 14-7, and that is where we stand right now. Our first half statistics, let's take a look at those if we could. First downs, Michigan leads 10-6. The rushing yardage, of course, Houston always fails in that category. 79-15, Michigan in front. Passing yardage, 140-94, Houston in front. Total yards about the same. Turnovers, always a critical factor. Houston has a couple, and Michigan has 1. There's our score. Michigan leads Houston 14-7. Back with the third quarter after this message and a word from our local stations. Corey McFerrin, Kevin Kiley, and Jim Paskey at the Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan. The Panthers and the Gamblers about to get cranked up here in the third quarter. And Kevin, not at all like their first matchup at the Astrodome, March the 26th. In that game, of course, 52-34. Michigan, all-time USFL record for most combined points. 70 passes thrown, 878 yards in the air, 8 touchdowns thrown. We haven't seen that kind of a game, at least not yet.
Right, we still have a half to go. I think as you look at Jack Pardee, the Houston coach, the problem with the Houston team and why they're not scoring is that Jim Kelly threw those 2 interceptions. They never could get it rolling. And the offsides penalty to Michigan, I think, destroyed the continuity of their offense. Whenever they got rolling there in the first half and they thought they were going to put their offense together and maybe get a drive going, they jumped off sides, and they did it 3 or 4 times. So I'm sure in the locker room the topic of conversation was mistakes, errors. Both of these teams are capable of scoring more points than you could ever want in a football game, at least if you were a defensive team. So I think what you're going to see is a little more concentration, hopefully, from both teams and some points on the board. These 2 teams can explode in a hurry.
And Kevin, let's not count out an explosion on the scoreboard either. That first game we told you about 52-34. The halftime score was only 17-14. So we could have a wild second half. Tony Fritz will kick off for the Gamblers. And the crowd is ready. So are we. Here we go. That is Bentley receiving on his own 4. Across the 20, slides up to about the 26 or 7-yard line. Michigan will put the offense on the field to return to 22 yards. If you're wondering, by the way, what that roar is all about, they're showing us the Tigers and Indians score here. The Tigers and Indians all tied, as you can see, at 5. The Tigers up at bat, and this town is going crazy with the Detroit Tigers and that wonderful start to the 1984 baseball season. You got some sports fans in this area, don't you, Kevin? I tell you.
I sure do.
Bobby just under 100 yards in the air for the first half. A couple of touchdowns, 1 interception. Fake to Williams. Hebert again going long. Overthrown. Coverage supplied by Hollis Hall and Bobby Hebert, intended for Walter Broughton, about 5 yards too long.
Houston opened up the second half with 5 defensive backs on first down, and they've had linebacker problems. So I think that's an interesting twist for them to come in with that 5th defensive back, and they put him right up on the line of scrimmage. We'll see. We'll try and keep an eye on and see what they do as we go along.
One of the problems they have, Kevin, as we know, is the fact that they've got a couple guys out in the linebacking spot. Perhaps they're not satisfied with their play, and they might go a little more often to the 5 defensive back line. Hebert, his first really long throw of the afternoon, unsuccessful. See what he does here on 2nd and 10, here early in the 3rd. They give to Cleo Miller, not much there. A couple yards at best. Tony Fitzpatrick, who earlier in the game got his bell run, is back out there doing his best. The defensive line for Houston.
Houston playing their safety right up on the line of scrimmage that time, or at least a yard behind it, and it paid off. Number 34, Calvin Easton, one of the leading tacklers. Look where he is, right behind the middle linebacker, Diala, and he comes up quick, helps out on this tackle. As you see Fitzpatrick getting driven off the line just a bit there.
All right, it's 3rd and 8. Hebert throws it out to Holloway, very close to the first down. Hit immediately by Mike Mitchell and Hollis Hall.
Holloway's responsibility is to hook up far enough to get the first down. He's very close here. He may not have got it. They're going to call it a first down. But we'll take a look at Hebert as he goes back. He looks right, but then he knows Holloway's on the left, hooking up right there inside the zone. He goes down immediately, but Derek knows his job, and that's to be over that first down marker. Make a point here that in the first game these two teams played, it was a close score at the half, and Michigan uncharacteristically came out in the 3rd quarter and started bombing the ball, throwing it long, and they did it on the first play here in the 3rd quarter, so we may be looking for some long passes for Michigan.
Little deja vu. Brought and Holloway to the near side. The running backs, Cleo Miller and John Williams. Hebert going to Williams. Does he have it? No. Incomplete pass at about the 49. Calvin Easton is there, covering for Houston. They're going to give it to him. Couldn't see it from our vantage point. Here's a score for you. New Jersey pounding Oklahoma 42-3. And that's good news for these teams on the field today, both Houston and Michigan, who are all tied up at 6-4 in the Central Division. See if we can tell if he caught the ball from this angle, Kevin.
Well, he fell away from us. We're on the left sideline as he caught it. Williams, that's a great catch if he did catch. It looked like he might have cradled his hands underneath it.
Regardless, it is the first down. Just inside the 50. Hebert. Mike Powell. Wow. That's a big lead catch by Mike Cobb, the tight end.
This is terrific defense. Cobb is the tight end on the right, and Hebert looking at him, throws the ball in a good spot because Cobb's the only one that can get it. But look at this defense here. They're on him. Cobb's a big guy, I'll tell you. He goes up high, 6'5", 255 from Michigan State. Guys 255, if they can catch like that, they shouldn't let him play. They shouldn't be allowed to run around out there.
I wouldn't want to tackle him, I'll tell you that. Cobb, former starter for the Chicago Bears in the NFL. In fact, he has caught a pass in the USFL in every game the Michigan Panthers have ever played. And that is the USFL record. 1st and 10, 38-yard line. A pass to Hebert and a Cobb again. Another first down. Brought down hard on the near side about the 27-yard line by Calvin Easton.
Great job by Bobby Hebert. They brought the kitchen sink on this one. 2 linebackers blitzed, Diala blitzed, Scoggins blitzed, and that man right there, he stood in there, knew he was going to get clobbered, and threw a strike to the sideline for another first down. Hebert coming back from that interception in the first half and doing a nice job here in the 3rd quarter.
Kevin, we just got word that David Greenwood, the all-pro defensive back for Michigan, will not be back in the game. Hurt himself early in the first half, and that's got to be bad news for them. We've got 10:21 to go. 3rd quarter, 14-7 Michigan. Broughton in motion to give to John Williams, left side, 20 room, 20-15, down to the 12-yard line. Hollis Hall and Cleveland Crosby bring him down, and there was some room for Big John to run.
When you throw the ball as well as they have, it's going to open up the running game behind Godfrey, Radloff, McGriff on that left side. They're running away from the 2 wide receivers to the tight end side, and look at this block here. That block, look at that block by, I think that was 33, or it looked like it might have been Cleo Miller. Couldn't pick up his number, but Williams made the great read, cut inside, and gets the big yard.
17-yard pickup to the 12-yard line. And Michigan is marching. Hebert wants to throw, dumps it off to Miller. He's got it inside the 10, tackled immediately by Hawkins.
That was the same play that they ran to Lacey, remember, for the touchdown. The first touchdown of the game, Lacey was wide open. But this time, Mike Hawkins, who's the brother of Andy Hawkins, who's out. Andy is the starting linebacker. Mike Hawkins, a little slower than Andy, got out there and was able to make the play. A little bit of a game, but at least they didn't get a touchdown. That's Diala, the middle linebacker, 6'1", 226. He's down on the field.
Hebert and the Michigan Panthers are driving once again, an impressive offensive drive. Michigan leads it 14-7. Good shot of Kiki Diala shaken up on that last play. Kiki for Houston, the #1 tackler on this football team, inside linebacker. She'll be back in a few minutes. Meanwhile, the Panthers going to try to push it in and score. Midway here in the third quarter. Hebert calling signals. We've got Miller and Williams in the backfield. They give the big John Williams. They're trying to power it in. Touchdown! Michigan scores a 7-yard run by big John Williams. They take the lead 20-7.
You ever hear those stories about offensive backs and quarterbacks buying dinner for offensive linemen? Take a look at number 74 on the right of your screen. Look at this block. And John Williams walks in. Anytime you get in without getting hit, you owe somebody a dinner. Let's watch it now from the end zone. They've got guys bunched up in the middle here. Now look at Williams as he takes off. Right there they have a chance to stop it, but not when Penny gets outside. Look at Penny leading the play. Linebacker misses it. And it's all over for Calvin Easton. He's just a defensive back. He's not going to be able to hold off the block.
Super block. The extra point is good. And we're seeing some action at the Silverdome. Michigan takes a 14-point lead. Back with more football in a moment. They are celebrating at the Silverdome. 21-7, the Panthers lead. The all-purpose kicker, punter Novo Biovic, lets it loose. Verdun across the 20, tries to hurdle his way across to the 23-yard line. Let's go now to New York. ABC Sports Control.
Corey, with that 14-point lead, the Panthers are now in position to break the log jam in the Central Division. The game in New Jersey has become a major bloodletting. You see the sack of Williams there, the recovery by the Generals' Jim Byrne. This is after New Jersey had already made it 35-3 in the third quarter. Then to Geese on the 3-yard touchdown run. It is 42-3, Generals over Oklahoma in the third. Back to Corey McFerrin in Michigan.
The Generals smoking them. Here, we've got a little closer game. The Panthers lead Houston 21-7. Jim Kelly and the Gamblers at their own 22-yard line, 1st and 10. Draw play, that is Fowler. Got some room for the first down, continues to bust his way up to the 40-yard line. Fowler, who's not the fastest guy in the world, playing now in place of Sam Harrell, who was injured 4 weeks ago and broke a bone in his arm. But I'll tell you what, this Fowler is a good solid player to have and a good blocker. The scoring drive for Michigan, 9 plays, 72 yards, took over 6 minutes. Great drive, perhaps the best offensive drive we've seen today. I think it was Williams, the 7-yard run for the score. Jim Kelly, 15 of 23 so far today, 150 yards. He's thrown for 1 touchdown, twice been intercepted. Fowler again. Drive for 3 or 4 yards. I think it's the first time I can recall they've had 2 successful running plays. Let's go to Jim Paschke on the sideline. Jimmy?
All right, I'm with nose tackle Tony Fitzpatrick. Michigan offensive line is doing some pretty good position blocking. What adjustments can you make to stop them?
Well, I think the main thing we need to do is get off. You know, they're tying us up. They're getting good grips on us, and they're tying us up, like I said, when you get off and make the play. They're not doing much inside. They're bouncing out that's killing us. We're pretty well stopping up in the middle, but they're bouncing out, and that's what's helping them.
You were knocked unconscious. How do you feel?
I feel a lot better. My back of my head's still pounding. I don't remember any bit of the play, what happened. All I remember is turning and running into something.
Corey? Thank you, Jim. That's Johnson on the far side, a gain of about 3.
One of the
doesn't
things,
remember a thing.
maybe it's better. The score's 21-7. Exactly. Good to forget that one. One of the things that the Michigan team is doing to stop this passing attack, you may be wondering if you just tuned in at the second half, 21-7. Houston's got the vaunted passing attack, #1 in the league. They're getting right with everybody. Their outside men are forcing Fowler to make a block immediately in the backfield, and their defensive secondary are playing these receivers very tight. They want Kelly to throw the ball right away, and it's working. It's been working the entire game. It's produced 2 interceptions and not a whole lot of offense for Houston. Third down play. 2 to go. Gives it off to Fowler. He's got that first down and pulls his way across the 45 down to the 43-yard line. We're seeing more running. This is a little slip draw. They get it to Fowler, who, by the way, was a tight end in college at Stephen Austin. He's a big one, 6'4", 218, and they're having trouble bringing him down. We may see a lot of this guy. He's a great blocker, and he really doesn't get the credit he should as a runner because they simply don't run the ball. First down, 44-yard line of Michigan. Kelly looking long, got a man, Sanders wide open, 10, 5, touchdown. Houston is right back in it. 44 yards, Kelly to Sanders, and again, Ricky wide open. Give me Jim Kelly any day. Sanders gets the touchdown, and Kelly gets the raw end of this deal. Take a look at this. Somebody misses a block. Here comes the defensive lineman. Kelly stands in there and throws it. He goes down hard, but this is the play they've been trying to run all day. This seam pass, it was wide open early in the game. We talked about it. Ricky Sanders beats the zone, splits it, and goes in for a touchdown, and that's Houston's game, I'll tell you. And remember, they ran the ball successfully, and that opened up the passing game. It's been an axiom in football for many years. Kick by Fritsch is good. Ricky Sanders, quite a day. 7 receptions, 105 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The action's heating up. Michigan leads by a touchdown. 21-14. Tony Fritsch is teeing it up. You can't mistake Tony, can you? You look at him down there and you know it's Tony Fritsch. Tony doesn't wear any pads in his pants. See that? I tried that one day. I was out for 4 weeks. It's very comfortable. Well, when Tony hits the football with his right foot, he usually trots off to the side. Here we go. Squib kick up the middle. Fritsch does that a lot. 10-yard line. It is bobbled, and that is why they do it a lot. Albert Bentley picks it up, and he is knocked down at the 12-yard line. Good defensive play there for Houston. Reggie Bonner, special teams specialist, returned it only 7 yards. That squib kick can be very effective sometimes. Good shot at Tony. And yes, thank you very much.
What it is.
Tony Fritsch from Austria. In fact, played soccer for many years before he got into football in the NFL. Got a very international sounding lineup today, don't we, with Novo on one side and Tony on the other. 12-yard line. Bobby Hebert, his team leads by a touchdown. Rolling right. Hebert flips it out front to the 30-yard line. He's got it. First down for Michigan. Good-looking play. The tackle made by Mike Mitchell. It's 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line for Michigan. Key to this play is that Broughton's got to make Mitchell believe he's going all the way deep. He does a good job of it. Look, old Mitchell says, whoop, I better get going. As soon as he does, Broughton hooks it up. Hebert knows exactly where he's going to stop at the 31-yard line. The ball was already in the air, and there's just no way to stop that at all. Mitchell gets turned around defensively. That's good offensive receiver play. Holloway at the bottom of your screen. Broughton is flanked right now. He is in motion. Miller and Williams, the running back, that is Williams, going left side. Tries to drive across for a couple, gets barely to the line of scrimmage. Jim Paskey on the sideline, going to talk to Jim Kelly.
Jim, you worked in the draw plays on the touchdown drive. How did that change the coverage, and what kind of a look did you get on the pass?
Well, it's probably exactly what they were giving us before. It's lack of execution. The thing we have to do is get a running game going and open up the pass. Giving us, they're telling us, take what you can get, and it's just a little amount of us not executing the way we should be.
Think you can find those Musketeers a couple more times?
Hopefully, they're a tough defense coming at us, but hopefully if I continue to execute, we'll do all right.
Okay, Corey?
Kind of hurts us to listen to Kelly talk, doesn't it?
May hurt him to talk. Taking a few shots here.
Matter of fact, he's got an operation after the season. He has polyps and has to have something done to relieve that problem. Calvin Eason walking over the sideline, shaking up a bit. Hey, Hebert, by the way, is hot right now. He has completed 7 consecutive passes and has brought his team out at this point to the 32-yard line.
Easton looks like he has cramps. He's holding the back of his leg and his calves, and that'll happen to you on this turf. You run, and it's always warm in here, and if you play a tough game, you run a lot of defensive pass coverage, you can get cramps.
Veteran Tommy Myers replaces Calvin in the lineup. Williams looking for some room. Got some. 40, 45, midfield. He could go all the way. 30, 25. Big John Williams going to score all the way for 6. They are fired up at the Silverdome. Big John Williams, 68 yards for the score.
We talk about the offense, and we talk about the fact that there wasn't that much of it in the first half, but that in the previous game, they came out and made adjustments in the second half and were able to score. Michigan has scored twice in this quarter, and Houston has scored dramatically once. That's a great run by Williams. Guys 5'11", 205, not supposed to be able to run that far.
John Williams electrifies this crowd. The extra point attempt by Milfo is up, and it is good. Got ourselves a 28-14 ball game, and whenever Michigan scores and gets ahead by 2 touchdowns, Houston comes right back. What a run here, Kevin.
Well, you remember what Fitzpatrick said. He said they were doing all right inside, but they were popping outside. Look, the 2 defensive backs take themselves out. The defense didn't do too bad a job of stringing it out, but when you let a guy like Williams square his shoulders up and get downfield, this is going to be the result. All the way, 68 yards for a TD.
That's the longest touchdown run in Panther history. 28-14 Michigan. Michigan strikes very quickly. 3 plays, 87 yards. Of course, the big one, Williams' 68-yard touchdown run. John, a second-year man out of the University of Wisconsin. Novo says, let's have some noise, and the fans respond. Verdun takes it out. 15, 20, 25, 30. Got some room across the 35 to 38-yard line. Tell you what. Gamblers are not going to roll over here. Return of 39 yards. Fine job from Clarence Verdun.
Verdun averages 23 yards on kickoff returns. He's among the leaders in the league, and a very dangerous kick return. He took that one inside the goal line.
Very smooth runner. Nice to watch him.
Take a look at this guy. I once asked the coach, I return kickoffs, I said, what should I do, coach? He said, well, find a spot that somebody else isn't running on, and you run on it. I said, that's it? He says, it doesn't take anything else except you got to be a little bit strange to want to do that.
Got to have a few guts to want to do that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
2:27 to go in the third quarter. 28-14 Michigan leads. As I mentioned a moment ago, Houston has come back every time. Michigan has scored. Kelly rolling right, going to run for it. Jumps out of bounds, about a gain of 8 yards. Jerry Argovitz, the owner of Houston, on the sidelines, and the Blazers. Will Coakley force Jim out.
Defensively, offensively, what you have to do in order to make the defense a little vulnerable is you have to make them hesitate. If you pass on every down or you run on every down, they get into a programmed response, and they'll play the run or the pass. You have to make them think, is this a pass or is it a run? And I think those of you that have been watching this game see the difference since they ran those draw plays. We're getting just a little bit of hesitation by Michigan on defense, and it's opening up a few things for this Houston offense.
Second and a couple. Draw play, Fowler. Got the first down across midfield, still on his feet. Down inside the 40-yard line, and Kevin, quite a stage, young man.
Well, it doesn't take too much to figure it out after it works a few times that they're going to see it, and this will make a difference. Now watch here. As I said, the rule is for the linebacker, don't move till he passes the back. See, the linebacker took a route on the outside there, and he opened it up. Once he gets past the line of scrimmage, it's just Fowler and the defensive backs, and boy, in the defensive back, you hate to see a guy like that loose in the backfield. 6 rushes, 54 yards for a team that doesn't run, and this is just in the third quarter. The guy's starting to turn it on.
Inside the 40-yard line, Jim Kelly gives it off to Fowler again. This time, nothing doing. Stacked up at the line. Ray Bentley, inside linebacker, came up, as did Kyle Borland.
The purpose of a running play isn't always to gain yardage. Sometimes it's to make them change their coverage. If you let safety sit back 15 yards, they're going to pick off passes on you, but they're going to want to get a running start on a guy 218 pounds, and you'll find they'll creep up to the line of scrimmage, and that'll open up that long game.
Gamblers, I am sure, well on their way to equaling their average total offense output. Kelly rolling, gives it off to Sanders, almost intercepted. Says no, there's a flag on the play. That ball intended for Ricky Sanders. And Tom Moriarty, the man who made the dive to that ball and deflected football. See what the flag's about.
A personal foul.
See who it is.
Defense, and Jack's wiping off there. He's worried. He thought that was against his guys.
That was a
He knows momentum when he sees it. He didn't want it stopped.
15 yards is always nice.
Personal foul. Number 65 on the defense. First down. That's Banaszak.
Actually, it's David Tipton.
Excuse me.
65, the nose tackle.
I think I wanted to say Banaszak had a quote in the papers this week. He said, someone's got to pay for what's happened the last 4 weeks. Banaszak is first place for Michigan, and he's talking about that losing streak, and then he went on to say, I feel sorry for the gamblers.
John Fenn to the Super Bowl 3 times, played for the Steelers for 7 years, quite a reputation, a very impressive football player. The draw to Fowler across the 20, 15, 10, drives to the 7-yard line, and the running game is clicking for Houston. Who would have thunk it?
You know, what Michigan's been doing this entire game, they've been forcing Kelly when he rolls, and they've been taking their line and moving it over in front of him when he tries to pass. Now watch what they do here. This is a misdirection draw. They all start to the left, including the defense. Fowler steps back to the right. There's nobody there, and again he's loose in the secondary, and that's going to give some guys a headache. I'll tell you, little defensive backs, they don't want to put their head in there too often. It can get painful. 8 rushes, 71 yards.
Fowler's best game of his career.
Hey, you see it again. That's a good shot of it there. You see the way he started left, he goes right, he's loose up the middle.
Fowler enjoying a heck of a game. That's the end of the third quarter of play. We're going to have one heck of 15 minutes to go. Michigan leads it by 2 touchdowns. It's Houston time right now. Ball on the 8-yard line. The Gamblers going to try to push it across to make it a 7-point ball game. They trailed 28-14. This drive, for the most part, can be credited to a surprising running attack. And speaking of that, there goes Fowler trying to pound up to the 5-yard line. Met heavily there. In fact, his helmet is taken off. A big hit. Good look of Todd. Reggie Singletary, the man to apply the hit. Third quarter statistics, and rushing yards are uneven, passing yards fairly close. Total yards, Michigan 320 to 263. And it's through 3 quarters.
About 60 of those 76 yards came in the third quarter, so that really tells the story of the turnaround of that Houston offense.
No question about it. 2nd and 5. Kelly gets away, gonna run. Inside the 5 is the end. Touchdown, Houston. Here's Kelly, keeps the football, diving across. We've got ourselves a 1-touchdown ball game.
They went with play action to Fowler on this play. Nobody was fooled. They know they like to throw the ball. Take a look at it from the end zone. If you're a defensive player, excuse me, that wasn't play action. They moved him to the right, and Kelly went the other way. Great move on Corker. Corker goes for the head. He misses. That's why you don't go for the head. It's just a little thing, and if you miss it, the guy's gone. And that's what happened there. Kelly used all of his 6'3" to get in there, and we got a ball game here, 8-point difference.
Just barely snuck across. Kelly is not afraid to run at any time.
I'd say one thing about the offensive line. You know, pass blocking, you take the blow all the time. You set up, the defense comes, slaps you around, and you really just get between them and the passer. But when you get the block for the run, it's a whole different thing. You can deliver the blow, and I know the offensive line of Houston has been happy to do that.
Tony's kick is good, as you can see. So Jim Kelly behind a surprising newfound rushing attack brought his team back 28-21. Houston within 7. Fritz to kick it off. We got a 28-21 ball game. Onside kick. Does not work. Does not work. Michigan comes up with it. Major surprise. And the man to walk away with the football is number 67, Max Gill, a special teams man for Michigan. What about that play?
I'll tell you, I could sit here and criticize. I loved it. I could sit here and tell you why you shouldn't do it. There's about 100 reasons why you shouldn't and one why you should. But I loved it. I thought it was great. Fish can really handle the ball. He's a good soccer player, obviously, and he can handle the ball with his foot. This is a very good onside kick. What he's looking for is a big bounce, and he doesn't get it. See these two guys lay down, and Michigan's really lucky, because see how the ball stays on the ground. If that thing takes a big bounce, and these guys are able to hit those guys, it's a free ball. Good shot. The defense is not playing all that well for Houston, and their offense can score at will almost, so I got to go with him. I like it.
Not afraid to do some unusual things. Hebert inside the 50. Plenty of time. Going to scramble. Gets away to the 45. Takes to the turf at about the 43-yard line. Down to the field. And Jim passes. Jim?
All right, Corey, I'm here with Anthony Carter. The Panthers were scoring some 30.5 points with him in the lineup. They've been scoring about 15 points on the average with him out. That may boil down to third down yardage. Why?
Well, I think so, because I have a tendency of getting open a lot quicker than the other receivers.
What else is missing with you not in there? Obviously, one of the long ball threats is gone, but you take a star out, and it fouls things up, but how so?
Yeah, I think it's kind of hurt the ball club when I got injured, and it's kind of down because I have a tendency of getting a big play for them, and, they take a lot out of the guys because they manage out.
Okay, Corey.
Miller with the football, trying the left side. Close to first down yardage. Do not believe he made it. They tell us Anthony Carter's arm is coming along very well, but they don't plan to rush him back. In fact, chances are he will not reappear in a Michigan uniform this year. 6 plays, 61 yards for the touchdown for Houston. Took well over 3 minutes. 5-yard touchdown run as Jim Kelly takes it across.
We talked about Anthony Carter at the head of the show in the open. That's a devastating loss, a guy like that. He makes everybody better on the football team just by being out there. Doesn't have to catch a pass, just has to be out there.
3rd and 1. Miller and Williams in the backfield. Hebert rolling. Look out. Gets away from one man. Williams there to block for. Better get rid of it. No. Taken down at the 45-yard line. That is Cleveland Crosby in pursuit, who made the tackle.
Hebert's hurt, and he's hurt because he didn't get out of bounds. And this is what Kelly of Houston is criticized for, and this is a very similar play. See the roll, how they roll? That's what Houston does. Fitzpatrick almost gets his hand on him on a nice roll here. Now, Hebert can't find a receiver. Right here, got to get out of bounds. The kid's just too valuable. And look at these guys, 250, 60-pounders, and they got fire in their eyes. They want to get him out of the game.
Hebert walks meekly to the sideline. Throws his arms up in the air to Jim Stanley. Novo Biovic is back to punt. Calvin Eason, the sole punt returner. Novo takes his time, but it's trying to sneak it inside the 10 if he can. it go. Good bounce. It's down at the 6-yard line. Novo may have found himself a job this afternoon. 11:53 to go in the ball game. 28-21. Panthers lead. Good shot of Jerry Argovitz, the colorful and sometimes controversial owner of the Houston Gamblers. They tell us he is a day-to-day, minute-to-minute operator of that franchise. Doesn't let anything go without his personal attention.
He's given a lot of football players a lot of personal attention.
That's for sure. 7-yard line. Kelly and the Gamblers. Draw play. Fowler. This is working every time. Big room. 20, 25. Finally brought down the 27-yard line by John Corker. And that has been the key to the second half for Houston's offense.
And the thing that's so funny is they run a draw. They don't have a regular play. They love to run this draw. The wide receivers are taking out patterns there. Now, see, you got to watch him till he hands the ball up. Look at the step as he steps through that hole. Great block there by number 63, the guard or tackle. We'll pick up his name for you. And then Fowler just running. He's not real fast, but he picks his holes well, and he's tough when he gets downfield. 63, Donnie Martin with a good block there on the linebacker.
I think Fowler was the 332nd player selected in the draft. There he goes again. Hit hard at the line. Gains maybe one, if that. Coakley makes the tackle.
That was a more traditional running play. See, Fowler, the difference between a draw and a regular running play, as we look at Fowler's 11 for 89 yards, that's great running for this team. The difference between a draw and a regular running play is on a regular running play, you start on the snap of the ball. It's very simple. On a draw, you wait for the quarterback to come back and hand you the ball. And there is a big difference there because if you have a running start, obviously you've got a little bit more momentum. The draw play is that's the type of play you're trying to trick the defense. The other play you're trying to power.
Pretty even matchup there. Kelly and Hebert. This is Jim Kelly. Underthrown terribly. Trying to hit Johnson, I believe, out there. Oliver Davis on the coverage. Sets up a 3rd and 10 situation. 10 minutes to go. Here in the 4th quarter of play, Houston trails by a touchdown. That's not a bad stat, is it? Wow. That's an incredible statistic. Kelly's the guy they look for in a game like this. They look for Jim to get him up and to win the game for him. And Kelly has not had a real good game. In the second half, they've gone mostly with the running attack and one long pass to Sanders. He's got to get on the mark here, too. 3rd and 10. Rushes hard. Gets it off to Fowler. 35. Sneaks through to the 38-yard line. I believe he has the first down. This is a screenplay, and there's some dispute. There's been some talk about this pass being illegal because Fowler gets downfield a little bit and people start hitting other people. Now watch Fowler. Let's see what kind of depth he gets. Number 46. He is behind the line of scrimmage, and here come the linemen now. That's a legal screen, and it works very well. First time, by the way, that they've thrown a screen today, and they do screen quite a bit. And they do have the first down. It's a big first down for Houston. Remember, they started this drive deep in their own territory. We're in the 4th quarter. They trail by 7. It's a very big possession for them. Kelly in trouble. Sack. And guess who? Number 79, Larry Bethea, is 3rd of the day. One of the things that Michigan had great success with throughout the first half was making Kelly make a decision quickly. They stopped him from rolling out. They closed that pocket around him. They did it again right there. First down, and they anticipated that he would pass, and they were right, and they were able to sack him. Jim Kelly, the University of Miami, holds career records for yardage, touchdowns, total offense there. Hails the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. 2nd and 17 after the sack by Bethea. Look out again, dumped it off to Fowler. Fowler is hit immediately. There's a loss on the play again. Bethea playing a whale of a game is everywhere. Luckily, though, Kelly was lucky to get the ball up at all.
I'm going to tell you, that was not luck. That was great athletic ability. That was a terrific play by the offense, and the defense was just a little bit better than that. This is good football here. Look at Kelly. He reached the blitz on the outside immediately. So does Fowler. He turns around. They get the ball to him. And look at the reaction by Mathey. He's got two men blocking him. He splits him and makes a great hit on a very tough runner. We've seen this guy run over people for the last quarter, but they drags him right down. That's terrific offense and great defense, too.
Larry spent most of his time in Dallas backing up guys like Charles Jones and Harvey Martin. 3rd and 16. Big play for Kelly. Scrambling. Gonna run. 40-yard line. 43, 44, but it's not going to be good enough for the first down. Shy by about 6 or 7 yards. Singletary makes the hit.
Again, they closed the pocket around him. They're coming out of the ground. That's an expression we used to have when we didn't know where they were coming from. Look at these guys. I mean, they know they've got to get to Kelly, and they forced him immediately to start running. Kelly, not a bad runner for a guy 6'3", 218. This guy, he can go pretty good. Puts a little fancy doodad on him right there, and gets up close to the first down, but not quite.
Walters is your punter. That is Broughton, number 24, to receive. Good-looking punt. Going to let it sail. Good bounce. Back to the 6-yard line, but the officials say it bounced on the end zone line. That's a questionable call, I would guess. A 56-yard punt for Dale Walters. 1st and 10 at the 20. We have 7 minutes and 11 seconds to go here at the Silverdome. There's some of the enthusiastic Michigan Panthers fans to talk about some serious fans. Look at this. Just married but stayed to watch the Panthers win. So far, things look good for the Panthers. They lead 28-21 with 7 minutes and 11 seconds to go here in the 4th quarter.
Speaking of just married and related things, Chris Godfrey and his wife just had a baby girl last Wednesday. Tackle for the Michigan team.
How about some yardage? Look at those stats. 660-some yards here today in total offense. Hebert. Up top. Is it caught? No. Fans don't like it. Leo Miller, number 33, is over there. Actually, the ball was intended for Walter Broughton, just ahead of him.
Shouldn't have two men in the same area like that. That was a pretty good pass. And really, actually, it was either going to be caught or be out of bounds. And Hebert laid it up there real nice. Let's take a look at it. See if we can figure out why Broughton wound up in the same area. I don't know that those two guys should be standing there.
No. Oh. Looked like he was in there. They might see the reaction because the people here in the crowd can see it on the big viewing board up above. They didn't like that at all. This is John Williams. 20-yard line. Turns it up for a couple. Bang. Big John. Quite a day for Williams.
Well, you know, the key to that is that Williams read that play. Used to be, years ago, you called the 2-hole, you handed it to the back, he'd run through the 2-hole whether there was a hole or not. But Williams' responsibility now is to look and see what's going on. If that hole is closed, he's supposed to bounce it outside. And on that play, the gamblers gambled. And they came with a blitz on the inside, closed up all the holes. Williams read it, bounced outside, and got good yardage. So really, the running and the reading, the intelligence of Williams is what gave him that yardage.
3rd down and 5. Williams on the day, 109 yards rushing. Hebert going to be sacked, and the ball is loose. It's a loose football. Who's got it? Houston seems to think they've come up with a football. As Hebert was sacked, hit hard, the ball pops loose. We got some extracurricular activity. That's number 37, Tommy Myers, the longtime New Orleans Saint. Apparently he's come up with a football. And again, the Houston Gamblers have come up with a major play, ball on the 19-yard line.
Panthers have done a great job of picking up the blitz all day. On this play, they come with literally everybody. And Hebert feels it. He tries to turn, but from the backside, see, that's a safety that gets in, or, well, maybe 31, maybe Dialia, or it's Myers. Well, can't pick him up. Anyway, they get the ball, as you see.
It is Tommy Myers comes up with the football. Houston on the 19-yard line. 6:51 remaining. Bobby Hebert sacked moments ago by Tommy Myers. Houston recovers, and here's the man that Hebert was looking for and couldn't find.
Well, when you blitz, you go man-to-man. Now watch this. Holloway puts a good move on, tries to run through the defense, and he's almost there, but this guy knows he's beat. He's man-to-man. If Holloway goes, he's got a touchdown, so what does he do? He pulls him down. That was number 35, Mike Mitchell, I guess doing the right thing, except the official may have called that. Although the offensive player may have made contact first, it's hard to tell from that replay.
Houston, a great opportunity. Let's see if they capitalize. We've got 6:35 to go in the game. It's a 28-21 score. Gambler's got to score to tie it up. Big rush. The ball is to Fowler, 10-yard line, 5. Powers inside the 5-yard line. I tell you, Fowler, the game of his career today. Ron Osborne brings him down.
Well, offense, you take what the defense gives you. In this case, the defense is giving them the draw play. When you rush on a blitz, you have to stay in your lane. You're supposed to be able to close all the lanes and not give the running back a lane to get through. Now, see, look at this hole. As you see Coakley there, number 58, he went down, he opened up a hole, and Fowler found it. He's close to the end zone now, 5-yard line.
The Gamblers can smell 6 points. Fowler again, they're going to go with them. Down to the 3-yard line where Kyle Borland tackled him.
Fowler's the type of guy you love to have on your team. He doesn't fumble, tough as nails. You wonder, how can a guy make a football team when he's not real fast? He doesn't do a whole lot of things great. Fowler does it by being tough. He's the single blocker in the backfield, so Kelly takes a lot of punishment and draw plays. Let me tell you, folks, it's not easy to run draw plays. It takes a lot of beating. He's taking a beating today, but he's been a difference so far in the second half.
This is Todd's best game ever as a running back because he was a receiver in college. Fowler driving. Does he have it? Maybe a bit short.
It looked like he hit the ground and bounced about a half a yard over the end line, but when he hits the ground, the ball is dead.
Very close. See where they spot this football. About the 6-inch line, maybe. A little farther out than that. We've got 4:51 to go. Houston about ready to put it in the end zone and tie this game up. Kelly at quarterback. Fowler, the running back. Let's see if they give it to Fowler. They do, and he plows across for the touchdown. And Houston within 1 point of knotting this game up at 28 all.
They went behind Frank Khalil, Donnie Martin, Tommy Robeson, and those guys deserve a lot of credit. This whole offensive line has been doing it. Watch now. This is a straight dive. This is no draw play. Right off the right side, the defense has got to hold the line, and Fowler just takes everybody with him into the end zone, and we're 1 point away from a tie.
Kevin, Fowler came into the game today with 133 yards on the year. Today, 103 yards on the ground and 15 carries already.
Got to give Darrell Davis a lot of credit, too. He's gone away from the pass when he found that the run could work.
Brits to tie it up. It's good. We've got ourselves a tie ball game at the Silverdome. What else would you want? A great ball game. 28 all. Back with a final 4:37 after this. 28-28. There you see the time. Tony Fritz going to kick it off. Will he do it for real? And he does. A swiver up the middle, bouncing around at about the 12-yard line. That is Broughton circling 20. Gets a block around the 25, tripped up to the 27-yard line. That is Threadgill, reserve quarterback, who made the stop. So, with 4:26 to go, Kevin, what kind of strategy do you think Michigan will adopt at this point? Before we go to that, we've got an offside, I think, on the kickoff.
The wide man on the far side was offside. A lot of times that happens and they don't call it.
Right.
I guess they think this game is close enough.
Offside
Call it.
on the kicking team. Line. First down.
Well, that's an interesting call. A lot of teams feel that the offensive kickoff is a play, and it's a good play, and Michigan special teams, well, I guess maybe they haven't been as great as they should be, and maybe they feel that they're better off just running from the offense.
Will they do anything different here with 4 minutes and 26 seconds to go? Try to eat the clock up a little more, perhaps, instead of going for a quick strike.
I think they'll do whatever they think they need to do to score because Houston's offense is so potent they feel they have to get ahead. So I think they'll open it up.
There you see the New Jersey score and the Philadelphia-Birmingham score, both those games in the fourth quarter. The winner here today will be the leader of the Central Division of the Western Conference. This is Hebert, dumps it off to John Williams, and John is flipped over at the 32-yard line by Will Lewis. The clock is running with 4:15 to go.
That's a great call, and the reason that's a good call is when a team gets a turnover and a touchdown, they get pumped up defensively. This happened a couple of weeks ago. We had a game with San Antonio and Philadelphia, and they want to get after you. The defense wants to come hard. They want to rush the passer, and a screen play takes all of that and turns it against them. It makes them, when they rush, they throw over the rush, and a terrific call by the offensive people of Michigan, and they picked up a good 4 yards.
The defending champion, Michigan Panthers, trying to stop a 4-game losing streak. Right now it's all tied. That is Lacey. He gets booed no matter what he does.
I guarantee if he gets in for a touchdown, he won't be booed. Again, what Fitzpatrick says comes home to roost. Watch him stuff the middle of his defense. The defense in the middle not doing badly, but Lacey turns it right outside. If he doesn't lose his footing here, he might have picked up some more yardage. Really, he wasn't tackled. He just kind of got a stutter step there and went down.
First time we've seen Ken in the second half.
Well, he hurt himself. He's coming off the field now. Lacey's got a little bit of a problem, a leg problem there. Now, AstroTurf will do that to you sometimes. You stub your foot, and you can wrench a knee or an ankle or a calf or something.
We've got under 3 minutes to go as Lacey goes to the sideline. Cleo Miller is in to replace him. 3rd and 1. We saw the movement on the defensive side. Flags everywhere. Fitzpatrick, maybe Fitzpatrick, that's Diala there, signaling that it might have been the offense who drew them across.
Well, they always point fingers. It was Fitzpatrick that jumped. The question is whether or not he was drawn offside. No, he wasn't. Well, we watched Fitzpatrick on films, and he does a lot of jumping around. 62 on the right of your screen. You see him there? He's trying to anticipate the snap count, and that's something you shouldn't do. Defensive linemen, you get down in your stance and you watch the ball out of the corner of your eye, and that's your movement. As soon as that ball moves, you go. If you listen to the snap count, that'll happen all day.
Easy way to get a first down. Fitzpatrick, a very antsy, kind of restless performer out there, always bouncing around, aggressive style.
In a lot of cases, that's right. The center, Wayne Radloff, if a guy gets into the neutral zone, he snaps the ball automatically just to catch him off sides and give you five yards, and that might have been what happened.
First down, 42-yard line. Williams, big hole across midfield in the 46. Big play. Calvin Eason makes the stop at the 46. He's got 2:32 to go. Tie ball game, and Michigan is moving the football down the field.
Well, that was a quick hitter up the middle, and first down, that'll work for you. Michigan doesn't want Houston to get the ball back, obviously, because they know that Houston offense is really potent. Novo Vahovic is one of the great kickers in the league, but he hasn't kicked a field goal in almost 3 games. Not the last 2 and not yet today. So you've got to be thinking about that a little bit too.
First and 10 again. Williams again gets it up the middle, almost to the 40-yard line. Kiki Diala is there for Houston. We're under 2 minutes to go in this football game. Michigan trying to position themselves, if not for a touchdown, at least for 3 from the foot of Novo Vahovic, who's hit on 12 of 14 attempts so far this year, getting warmed up on the sideline. He may be the difference before it's all over here at the Silverdome. We've got a minute and 57 to go. There is Novo Vahovic, the kicker, the punter, and maybe the hero.
I think I said Vahovic hadn't kicked a field goal in 3 games, and what I meant to say was he hasn't attempted a field goal in 3 games. He hasn't even been on the field for an attempt, and he may be a little cold, but the guy can really kick. He's got some great statistics. He has the longest field goal in the league this year, a 56-yarder he kicked. And from the 30 to 39-yard line, he's 3 for 4. Same from 40 to 49, and 1 for 1, 50 plus. Anything under 30 yards, he's been perfect this year. Jovic. So they're almost in range. John Williams, 125 yards. Fowler, big second half. Almost 100 of that, 103 yards here in the second half.
And coming in, we didn't figure the running backs would play that much of a role in the outcome of this game. Less than 2 minutes to go. 2nd and 5. This is Cleo Miller. Changes direction. Bounces off one man. Makes it back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe. Hollis Hall is there. So is Calvin Eason. Is Cleo Miller unable to find any running room? 1:45 to go, setting up a 3rd down play, 3rd and 5 for Michigan. This is a very, very important play.
The thing that the defense did on that play that they haven't done the entire half and maybe the entire game is they came up and forced the thing. He got some depth defensively, turned that play in, and they were able to stop the running play, make it 3rd and long yardage.
There's a timeout right now. Both of the coaches talking things over with their respective players. It'll be interesting to see what kind of a play they come up with. Both teams, the last few minutes, have been staying to the ground. There is Bobby Hebert, and he's got to make a good 5 yards, maybe closer to 6 actually here. And if he can make it, obviously they're in good shape. If he doesn't, I'm sure they'll try it again on 4th down as well.
If he gets to the 30, it'll be a 47-yard field goal for Jovic, and that's a long way. 3rd down and long. They need a 1st down to realistically have a chance. You don't want to turn the ball over to Houston on
at
the
41.
line.
No
way,
no.
Because these guys are just too powerful. And you know, it's funny about an offense like that. The offense isn't even on the field for the Gamblers, and it's playing an important part in this game because the Michigan people know that if they give the ball up to that Houston offense, they've got a good chance of getting down the field. Jovic, I guess he'd be the guy you'd want on the field if you needed 3 points to win a ball game. He hasn't missed in 8 tries, but again, he hasn't tried in almost 3 games, and that can do something to you.
Our halftime score today at the Silverdome was 14-7 Michigan. Seen a wild second half.
But a little different.
A little different. We didn't expect Houston to stick to the ground, to go with a kid like Fowler, who's enjoying the finest day of his career. And it really has changed things up. And like you said, I think it's a tribute to Mouse Davis, Daryl Davis, and the Houston folks, that they're willing to do the things they have to do to win.
Well, one of the things we were concerned about was that Houston's offense was maybe not all that flexible. They've just proved that today, and they've run the ball very well.
The crowd is pumped. 3rd and officially 6 yards. Dropping in motion. Miller and Williams the back. Williams the give, and he is taken down by Fitzpatrick. A big play for Fitzpatrick. A loss of 4. A clutch defensive performer. The young man from the University of Miami. Now what?
So we're going to get a timeout.
No kidding.
I think we're going to see the punting team, and Novo's going to do the punting too. Got to say something about Fitzpatrick. He was knocked out on the field earlier in this game, and he's come back right there, number 62 from the University of Miami, the nose guard on the national championship team last year, and a big, big play.
Great competitor, no question about it. 1:33 to go, and Novo is going to punt this thing away. And the idea is, I would suppose, to try to pin it down inside the 10-yard line and get that ball back in the final minute. It's tied. We've got 1:33 to go. Back more in a minute. 4th and 9 from the 44. Michigan chooses to punt it away with 1:33 to go. There is Novo Jovic. 47 plus his average so far today. Let's see if it's not a fake. Wouldn't surprise us. Long count. Here we go. Novo takes his time, but he's going to punt it away. That's Sanders after 7. Swings back, changes direction, and hit at the 6-yard line. Tom Moriarty.
Have to question whether he should have caught that ball. Sanders better to start at the 20 than the 7, thinking it might get in. Even if they get a good bounce, they're only going to go to the 3-yard line. So I have to say something about Moriarty, number 45. He's made 2 tackles on punts inside the 10-yard line and played a super game on the special teams for Michigan. When you get into a game that's this close, you look for that guy on the special teams to make a big play. Another thing, this is just like sudden death. For all intents and purposes, we're in sudden death right now. The score's tied, minute 24 to go, and Houston had an awful time in sudden death last week. That might be going through their heads.
There is no bow. The heart and soul of the Michigan team. He's a very popular man on the team and in the town. The crowd is booing. A minute 24 to go. Kelly hands off to Fowler. Big room, 10, 15, 20, 23-yard line before he's brought down by Tom Moriarty. And Fowler is running wild today. We've got a minute 17 to go.
It's got to make you think. It's a draw. Watch him. He'll sit. Look, see him stop and wait right there. And it's a little bit different now. They ran this draw outside off tackle, which they hadn't done earlier.
Kelly is ready to go. He fires it out to Sanders. Tries to get away from one man. Jumps out of bounds at about the 24. Gain of 2, maybe 3. Clock stops. A minute 8 to go.
David Greenwood had a comment this week. He said, playing against Houston is playing against an offense that runs the 2-minute offense the entire game. So if you're wondering if this team has a good 2-minute offense, well, they lead the league in offense, and it's all 2-minute offense.
They got a lot of practice at it. Nothing different for them at all. Kelly. Sanders in motion, top of your screen. Kelly across the middle to Sanders. Can't make the catch. Hit him in the hand at the 38-yard line.
Well, they came with the blitz. They had him in man-to-man coverage. They got the blocking, and it was just a foot too long. Kelly to Sanders. You see him clap his hands there. He just almost had it.
Minute 4 to go. It's all tied. As you can see, Houston trying to get that ball within field goal position. There's a look at Michigan coach Jim Stanley. He's tense, obviously. 3rd and 8. Kelly. Going to give it to Fowler on the draw. Escapes a couple tacklers. Squeezes up to the 32-yard line. Maybe the 33. It's going to be close to the first down. See where they mark it. We want to welcome those of you who are watching the Oklahoma-New Jersey game. Let's set up the situation here. 58 seconds to go. Houston with the football on the 32-yard line. They've just gotten the first down. Todd Fowler, running back, has been the story the past few minutes. Kelly, the punt, gets away, going to run it, and he is tackled. And the Michigan fans love it. Reggie Singletary, the man to make the hit. 45 seconds to go.
Mobility of Jim Kelly in evidence there. Kelly was able to get outside. As you look at his stats, he's had a pretty good day, although those 2 interceptions led to scores in the first half. Singletary, backup nose guard, great job. He put on the initial pass rush, and then he was able to catch Kelly from behind.
Houston has just called their final timeout. The man with the headphones draped around his neck is Darrell Mouse Davis, the man responsible for the run-and-shoot offense. An offense that everybody's talking about in the USFL. 28-28. It's been a while, won 14-7 the score. Michigan led at halftime. Houston in the second half, as we alluded to, has depended a great deal more than we anticipated on the running game. A young man by the name of Todd Fowler out of Stephen F. Austin, a rookie, who had gained only 133 yards the entire year, has been a major factor. And Jim Stanley, the head coach of Michigan, looks on there. And Fowler, Kevin, is really been effective.
Well, Jim's got to wonder. In the second half, it was 14-7 in the first half. In the second half, Michigan got up by 14 points. They led 28-14, and then Houston, who had passed almost exclusively in the first half, started running draw plays to Fowler. Jack Pardee, the head coach there, I'm sure he and Darrell Davis talked it over, and they decided unless they ran the ball, they weren't going to be able to put a dent in this Michigan defense. Well, the draw play, and not Jim Kelly, but the draw play to Fowler has been the big weapon. Fowler is well over 100 yards and has run for an average of about 15 to 20 yards on each draw play. That's put them where they are right now. They stormed back, scored twice. It's 28 all, and 45 seconds to go. I think we've seen almost the end of this draw play. He's going to have to put it up on top, get in field goal range.
Jim Kelly, the USFL's #1 passer. Leads the league in yardage, attempts, and completions. Here's a pressure situation. 2nd and 11. That is Sanders in motion to the near side. Kelly will throw it up. Big run. Takes him down. Second-year linebacker out of the University of Wisconsin, comes off the left side. Kelly didn't see him. He goes down big time.
Well, all day we talked about this. When Kelly rolls one way, the backside rush automatically should come. But see the tackle? He knew he was supposed to pick him up. He's got to check for the linebacker. He didn't. He's chasing him, but it's too late as Kelly never sees him, and down he goes. That's a big play for Michigan, and it puts Kelly and the Gamblers in a tough spot.
That creates a 3rd and 20 situation with 42 seconds to go. There's the man Borland. Made that hit on Kelly. Here's a kid who was not drafted by either league. He ends up being a starting linebacker this year for the defending champion Michigan Panthers. Got a man down on the field. I believe that's Donnie Martin, right guard, out of Rice, who was injured on the field. The significance of today's game is seen very easily. Oklahoma has lost their football game. Their record was 6-4, now is 6-5. The winner of the Panthers-Gamblers matchup this afternoon will inherit the first place spot all by themselves.
Houston is coming off an overtime game with Los Angeles, as you see Martin, and that's a big loss. He's played a whale of a game at offensive guard, asked to pass block most of the day, but he has come on to block very well for that draw play and allowed Fowler to run for some yardage. This team, Houston, was in an overtime game last week with Los Angeles. They had 2 very bad things happen to him in overtime. Kelly threw an interception, gave L.A. the ball, and then they had a roughing the passer call, and both of those things led to the winning field goal for L.A. And as I said earlier, 42 seconds to go with the score tied. This is essentially overtime. That's what we're looking at, really, with the situation here. And you wonder if these things are going through Kelly's mind. He's thrown 2 interceptions today and had kind of a rough time of it against this Michigan defense. So we'll have to take a look, see if Kelly can respond here. 42 seconds, a long way to go for field goal position.
What Mouse Davis has cooked up for Jim Kelly and the Gamblers. 42 seconds to go. It is 3rd and 19. There are the stats for Kelly. 20 of 29. Gonna give it to the draw. Fowler. Singletary is there. Did not fool Michigan this time. The clock stops with 33 seconds to go. And that surprised me.
Well, it does, but remember what I just said about things that happen in overtime. You don't like to be caught in predictable situations. They had long yardage. Michigan has played the pass as well as anybody has against Houston this year, and maybe they figure they've got a better shot in overtime starting all over, certainly because they didn't get the first down, and now if they're successful, the best they can hope for is overtime, the Gamblers.
So Dale Walters comes on. There is Walter Broughton back to receive at his own 27-yard line. Down to 33 seconds. We've seen a whale of a football game today.
Walters has had a good day punting. He's had some real good punts, but you wonder if Michigan maybe is going to try a little pressure here. They have nothing to lose. If they come after him, as long as they're careful, of course.
I would think they would have the rush on.
47-plus yards for Walters on punting today, and all of those kicks have been good kicks with good hang time. So he's a good man to have out there if you have to punt the ball.
All right, here we go. Dale Walters is back. To punt this football away, Jim Stanley has that same expression on his face, whether he is winning or losing, whether the whole game is ahead of him or 33 seconds, as the case is right now. Walters gets away. Not a good punt. Coming down the 45-yard line, bouncing. Good bounce down to the 33-yard line. We've got 22 seconds to go. And the Michigan Panthers will see what they can come up with. 39-yard punt.
Good punters get good bounces.
That's right. That's right. Somehow works that way. Kevin, with 22 seconds to go, will they play, do you think, with overtime in mind here, or will they put it up trying to get it down for the field goal range?
Well, I said earlier, I can't imagine a team sitting on a lead when you're playing the Houston Gamblers, the leading offense. Remember, you have to toss a coin in overtime to see who gets the ball, and you don't want Houston back on the field. It seems to me you have to go for it.
A Bear at quarterback. Broughton in motion. Cleo Miller gets the pass. 35-yard line up to the 40 and knocks out of bounds. At the 42-yard line. Very close to the first down, 16 seconds to go.
Well, that's great execution. When they're going to run the ball, primarily they've got Williams and Lacey in the backfield. What they did there is they took the wide receiver Broughton and they put him in the backfield. They run him out, clear it out over there for Miller, and they get Miller on a swing, and he's able to get out of bounds. I mean, that's just a very well-designed play and a perfect play for this situation because it allows you to pick up yardage and get out of bounds.
They're at about second and 1 yard for the first. 16 seconds to go. Ball is on the 42-yard line of Michigan. A Bear. Broughton again, coming near side. Swinging out left side. Same play to Cleo Miller. Knocked immediately, and the ball is loose. No play. Will Lewis makes the hit. My.
Well, I thought to myself, as soon as Broughton went into motion this way, I thought same play to the other side. As a linebacker or a defensive back, that's what you've got to think. You just saw it to one side, it was successful, and offensive coaches and offensive players are predictable. Will Lewis, to his credit, thought the same thing. He came up a lot harder and made a good hit, and if Miller had taken another step, that's a fumble.
Exactly.
Lewis hit him almost a little bit too early.
Bear getting instructions from the sideline. He has 12 seconds remaining. Football, the 42-yard line. He's got Williams and Miller in the backfield. Anthony Allen, Darren Holloway to the near side, and Broughton at the top of your screen. He's going to put it up. Bear going long. That is Broughton. He's got it. Walter Broughton had the football, it looked like to us, at the 8-yard line and dropped the football with 5 seconds to go.
Hollis Hall, the defender, does everything right here except for one thing. He's got perfect defensive position, but right here he's got to turn around. He never turns his head around. If he looks when Broughton looks, he can knock that down. And boy, on a prayer, Houston is saved on a prayer there because he never turns around and looks at the ball. If he turns around, he can get his hand up. The first axiom of pass defense is when he looks, you look. And the ball will be there. Great pass by A. Bear and a real tough break for Michigan.
Walter Broughton is shaking his head right now. That could have been the ball game. 5 seconds to go. Jovic and A. Bear talking to Coach Stanley on the sideline. Corey McFerrin, Ken Kiley, and Jim Paschke along with you at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. A crowd of nearly 30,000 on hand, and they have seen some kind of a football game. 28 all, 5 seconds to go.
Well, that was the play I expected to see. The one we saw before, I expected to see that one now with 5 seconds to go. I was thinking with timeouts they might go down the middle, try a hook pattern. Deep hook about 20 or 30 yards and set up for a field goal. Now with 5 to go, I guess we're headed downfield on this one.
I would think they're going to try it again. Exactly.
Last game these two teams played, Michigan outgained Houston 560 yards to 466. We've seen something less than that today, but certainly equally exciting game. This has been a terrific football game with an ebb and flow on both sides, ending up with 5 seconds to go here. We've got a tie score.
Michigan, as we've mentioned several times during the course of the broadcast, has lost 4 consecutive ball games. Anthony Carter, their star player, lost during the victory over San Antonio. They have not won since, a major factor in their demise. And obviously, a game like this, they would love to win and get that monkey off their back as well, of course, as they take first place in the Central Division of the Western Conference. Let's see what they do with 5 seconds to go. They've got 3 wide receivers. Allen, Holloway, Broughton. Hebert is going to throw it up. We used to call this the Big Ben play. Way up in the air, 5-yard line, incomplete pass. They sent 3 receivers all down to the same area of the field between the 3 and the 6-yard line, hoping for some kind of a deflection, some kind of a football to fall in somebody's arm.
Well, you've seen that a lot of times, and the purpose of the play really is to get as many bodies in the same area as possible. If there's a deflection, well, then you can catch it. Also, you're looking for a penalty. If you get 6, 7 guys sitting down there by the goal line, you want one of them to bump a receiver. And, of course, the play can't end on a penalty.
Exactly.
So the offense has a shot. You've got 2 shots with that, but, frankly, it doesn't work all that often.
I saw that same play work this past fall in Atlanta, where Billy White Shoes Johnson of the Falcons, you might have seen it, caught a similar ball after it knocked off of a defender's arm, grabbed it, and dove across for the score. It ended up winning the football game. It was a wild play. We're going to flip a coin at the center of the field, determine who kicks off to whom, then a 3-minute break, and we'll come out, play sudden death, overtime. It's 15 minutes, or, of course, whoever scores first, it's all over. And then if it's tied at the end of 15 minutes, you got yourself a tie football game. The noise you hear has nothing to do with the toss at the center of the field. It has to do with the scoreboard. Shows the Detroit Tigers have defeated the Indians by a score of 6-5. The Michigan Panthers have won the toss, so that yell can continue for a few more seconds.
I think it's significant that Michigan scored 28 points in this game. They had been having problems. They've been averaging...
We'll receive it right here. I think they're talking about who had the head call, who had the tail call. Obviously, Houston's won the thing, but Robert Pennywell is not very happy about it. He's saying, hey, I called it.
Well, there'll be a discussion here. Obviously, Pennywell feels that something else happened, something obviously happened that he wasn't aware of out there.
It's all tied up. We've got sudden death overtime. Back with that action after a word from our local station. The Houston Gamblers and the Michigan Panthers all knotted up at 28. We are in overtime for the Gamblers, their 2nd consecutive overtime game in 2 weeks. They lost to the Express last week, 27-24. And Kevin, there are the stats through 4 quarters.
Well, the biggest surprise there is the rushing yardage under the Houston sign, 168 yards. You would expect that type of a breakdown maybe from Michigan, but you certainly wouldn't expect Houston to have almost equal rushing yards to passing yards in this game. And that is significant because it was the rushing game that brought this team back to a tie.
Let's now throw it down to the sidelines. And Jim Paschke. Jim?
Well, I can tell you what the Michigan Panthers say about the coin toss. Robert Pennywell was there for the toss. He said the Gamblers called heads and it came up tails. The officials said they called tails. That's what they're arguing about.
Thank you, Jim. We were wondering, and that was our guess, that there was some discrepancies about who called what or what the coin toss actually was. We're about ready to go. Michigan and Novo Biovic about set to kick it off, and there it is. A swift kick hits the man, and Michigan recovers. Unbelievable. Number 67 is a backup center by the name of Max Gill. Novo Biovic hit a line drive, hit a player in the front line for Houston, and Gill was there to recover.
They actually teach you about this on special teams. You don't turn your back to go special teams players, don't turn your back until the ball passes.
Jack Pardee. Bouncing back from leg to leg. He's got to be losing some of that hair. 2 straight OT games. Wow. 49-yard line. Hebert. Look out. Big rock. He's going down. Fitzpatrick is there. 43-yard line. Calvin Eason going to get credit for that sack. Pardee wipes the hair over to one side, takes a big sigh.
Well, how big was that sack? That was a big sack. A safety blitz. You got to hand it to Houston. They call themselves the gamblers. They did it. They gambled with a blitz on that. They knew, or thought they knew, Hebert was going to throw the ball. What does it do? Well, it brings them back about 8 yards, makes them predictable now. First down, they didn't really know what they were going to do. Now it's 2nd and long. They don't want Houston on the field offensively. You figure they've got to go with screen draw or down the field.
Michigan. Block and Allen at the top of your screen. Hebert going to fire. He's got a man. Almost intercepted. Deflected up in the air. The ball intended, I believe, for Holloway. Hollis Hall was there and almost picked it off. Let's go now to the field, and Jim Paskey with the man who recovered that fumble for Michigan.
And, of course, Corey, that is Max Gill. He knew they were going to squib the kickoff, but you had no idea it would hit one of their players. What happened?
No, what we were trying to do is just squib it down the field, hit about the 20, 15-yard line, and I was worrying about covering down, and all of a sudden it hit that guy and started bouncing towards me. All I could do was try to jump on it. Came right in my arm.
All right, that could be it is a very critical play. It may be the story of the ball game before it's over.
3rd down, 18. Hebert puts it up. Soft toss far side. Is it intercepted? No. Incomplete pass. It looked very close to being an interception on the far side. Obviously, Houston's not very pleased about that one. Mike Mitchell over there trying to make the pick. Anthony Allen, the intended receiver. And with a 4th down and 18 situation, that recovery of the kickoff is not going to be a help for the Panthers.
Gamblers are 18th in the league, last in pass defense, and they picked really the best 2 plays of the season, I guess, to get good at pass defense. The last 2 plays, they've been exceptions.
That's Gerald McNeil, number 13. This is Novo Viovic, who came in to take over the punting chores, and the regular punter, David Greenwood, had to leave the game with an injury. Novo's shortest punt of the day, caught by McNeil, 22-yard line, stays on his feet up to the 30, where he is nailed. Mike Edwards, number 53, runs the back 33-yard punt, return of about 3 yards.
I think it's important to consider what happened last week. This is the 2nd game for Houston in 6 days in overtime, and it was Kelly last week that threw the big interception over the middle that cost Houston the ball and eventually the ball game. Now, you got to wonder what Jim's thinking right now.
That's McNeil near the camera. Draw play, Fowler, 30, almost gets away, but caught at the ankles there by number 50. That's Ray Benton.
Got a flag on the play. I think that was Kyle Borland, number 52, and it's a penalty on Michigan. We'll have to see exactly what it was. But Borland is kind of slowing down a little bit on his rush. It's a face mask penalty. Face mask inadvertent. I'll take a look at it. Still first down. Take a look at it from the back end zone. Now Borland, he used to rush all out in the beginning of this game, but since they started the draw play, Borland has slowed down his rush a little bit, and that's the key to that play because he's able to react and get a hand on Fowler and help with the tackle. That draw play has changed the face of this game dramatically from the early 3rd quarter on.
No question about it. 1st and 4, ball on the 36-yard line after the face mask penalty. Kelly, a quick count, going far side, overthrows his man, intended for Greg Mosier. We've played almost 2 minutes in the overtime period. Michigan unable to capitalize on the recovery of the opening kickoff. And Houston now with a 2nd and 4 situation on their own 36-yard line. The winner of this ball game will be all alone on top of the Central Division of the Western Conference. Michigan, as we've mentioned, lost 4 consecutive games. Houston lost a tough one in OT to LA last week after winning 3 consecutive ball games. Overall, they're playing the best football of the year the last 3 or 4 weeks. Kelly, draw, Fowler, no. John Porcher, the outside linebacker, comes up to make the big play.
Michigan has finally changed their defensive scheme. Early in the game, they were forcing Kelly, coming hard from the outside. But now look, as he hands it to Fowler, you don't see any outside pressure because Corker, number 57, is standing on the line of scrimmage waiting to see if Kelly's going to hand the ball off. He sees it and he makes the play.
Todd Fowler with 137 yards that surpasses his entire total on the ground for the previous 10 games. 3rd and 5, 35-yard line. Kelly, his side, caught by Richard Johnson. He has got the first down. Clutch play, Kelly to Johnson.
Well, it's ironic. With first place in the Central Division at stake, what better team to be on the field than Houston, the number 1 team in offense? And they're going to Johnson all the way there. As you see, Kelly takes a short drop and throws a perfect strike on an out pattern. Not an easy pass to throw for a first down. Super play. Richard Johnson, nice catch there.
Kelly and Johnson. Great combination. Look at the total yardage. Houston. 384, Michigan, 5 yards behind. Wow. Nothing doing. Stacked up at the line. John Porter makes the play on Todd Fowler. Larry Bethea also in there.
There's no question that Michigan's defense is more aware of the draw. They're sitting on the line of scrimmage. And as I said earlier, the key to the draw is you have to wait for the quarterback to pass the back with the ball. That's what you do. You sit and you wait. As soon as he goes past the back, it's a pass play. But you wait until he passes him. If he hands the ball off, obviously it's a draw. Michigan was not doing that in the 3rd and 4th quarter. They were coming with an all-out pass rush. They've changed. They've decided to sit a little bit, and they're able to stop that draw play.
Man with the headphones, you just saw Mouse Davis, offensive coordinator for Houston. 2nd and 10. Kelly, far sideline, up in the air, almost picked off out there by Clarence Chapman, number 22. Kelly was flying to hit Ricky Sanders. And again, it seems to me, over the course of today, Kelly has been long on most of his deep passes.
He's not thrown well long all day. He threw the 1 pass to Sanders for a touchdown, but Sanders was wide open on that play, and even on that he had to hesitate just a bit. They say that Kelly, he's been sacked, I guess, with this game close to 50 times this year, and they say Jim is a little beat up, and that can affect you. If your legs get beat up, your back gets beat up, it sometimes changes your throwing motion. He's thrown for 300 yards for the past 5 games, and as you look at his stats, 216 yards on this day is not up to his regular performance.
3rd down and 10. The crowd alive. The pump. The throw. Sanders got it. And the first down at the 44-yard line of Michigan. Again, Kelly comes through on the 3rd down play. Actually, at Scott McGee over there.
Well, with great quarterbacks on defense, what you do, you drop back and you watch their eyes and their arms. And when Kelly pumps, you better notice it. And that's what happened on that play. The entire defense jumped out of their shoes when he pumped, and that's what broke the play open for the completion.
Kevin, you've been in these situations before, the overtime games. About now, does the fatigue factor play a role at all?
You get a second wind after the game, but it really depends. If you're on defense, yeah, you get scared, and fatigue will bother you because you're worried you're going to lose the game.
Fowler bumps into his own man and taken down after a gain of maybe 2 yards. Hughes is there.
Talk about fatigue, that man right there, Fowler. Remember, this is a team that runs the ball or has run the ball at most 10 to 15 times a game. And last week, they didn't really run the ball at all. Fowler's got to be getting tired. He's blocked and run the entire game. And, of course, this guy's not tired. But when you're talking about pressure, Tony Fritsch has been there before.
I think, Kevin, the big factor here, Tony Fritsch has only attempted 6 field goals all year long, and the longest one is 39 yards. So if they intend to let Tony have a shot at winning this football game, they're going to have to get it down to the 24, 25 yards.
I couldn't tell if Tony was excited or not.
He's been here many times before. 2nd and 9. Kelly throws low. He was going for McGee. Scott McGee, number 88.
Well, Jim seems a little tentative.
He does.
He did have a rough time in overtime. Again, he threw that interception last week. And while we're on the subject of fatigue, you throw the ball 50 times in a game or 30 times in a game and go to practice. A lot of times in the course of a game, your throwing motion will change, and what you're able to do and the velocity you're able to get on the ball and the patterns you're able to complete will change. You get into overtime, and all those things are magnified. So Kelly, he may not be the same Tim Kelly that started the game.
3rd and 9. 42-yard line. Here we go. Kelly rolls. He pumps. He runs. Knocked down. I believe he got the first down or came very close to it. Vito McKeever and Kyle Borland make the stop.
Remember one thing.
First down.
Remember one thing on a play like that. Your knee has to touch the ground. And on that tackle, it appeared that the defender dragged Kelly over him. And Kelly's not down until he hits the ground. So if you land on a defender and bounce, it's a first down. Now, Jim Kelly does so many things for an offense. A quarterback like this, he's 218 pounds. He turns it upfield like a running back. And he's got, see that, how he rolled over number 97? And that may be the difference. That may be how he got the first down.
Houston today, 3rd down conversions, clipped 9 of 15 occasions, and that was not bad. Kelly again flips it out. This is Sanders, got some room inside the 20, knocked out of the 15-yard line, and we now are within Tony Fritsch's range.
They needed to get to the 22-yard line to make it a 39-yard field goal. You usually spot the ball 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Again, Tony jumping up and down for joy there. He knows he's going to get an opportunity here. A guy, I guess after you've been through this so many times, you just kind of keep it inside, don't you?
Tony is not the kind of guy to get too uptight, I don't think, anymore.
Panthers may be getting tired defensively. They've been on the field a long time in the second half, and they played against a lot of Houston offensive plays.
Houston going to play it safe here. Fowler trying to get a few more yards. Charges up for 3, maybe. John Porter makes the stop, trying to position it for Tony Fritsch, and Tony is coming on the football field to go for the field goal, which could win this football game, ended here in overtime. There he is. Tony has played in the NFL for Dallas, for San Diego, for Houston, for New Orleans. He's been to the Super Bowl twice with Dallas. This year, kicked 5 field goals in 6 attempts. Let's see what this is going to be, Kevin. It looks like a 30-yard field goal attempt. The holder will be Greg Mosier. Play is being stopped. Well, I believe it's a timeout for Michigan.
Well, they call that freezing them out. You know, I always wondered about this because as the team's driving down the field, obviously we've had 3 shots of Fritsch. He's been thinking about it the entire time, and then he gets out on the field, and they want him to think about it a little more. I know if it was me, I'd have been thinking about it since the 3rd quarter when it became a 7-point game. Some people think this works. I personally think when you have a guy like Fritsch who's been in the league and so many years and kicked for so many teams in so many tense situations, that it really has no effect.
Yeah, but Michigan is about set to lose a 5th consecutive game.
Better performance, I don't know that they're certainly not going to be happy with that, but I began to say earlier, they had been averaging 15 points a game without Anthony Carter. They scored 28 points against an improving defense, Houston defense. They played well. Early in the first half, they had a lot of penalties, but in the second half, if you notice, they haven't had a lot of penalty problems. They have certainly improved their performance. And Houston, let's face it, you can call them an expansion team if you want, but this is a very, very fine football team that does some amazing things offensively, puts a lot of pressure on your defense. So this has been a good performance, I think, for both teams.
Tony Fritsch has been standing all by himself at the 28-yard line, talking to no one, concentrating, thinking about the job at hand. It will be a 30-yard field goal, his longest on the year, 39. The plate's down. It is up and no good.
Ball was blocked. That ball was partially blocked and knocked off. A great job by the Michigan defense.
Tony Fritz's 30-yard field goal attempt could have been the game winner for the Gamblers. Is no good.
Take a look at it. Watch the left side of your screen. Somebody gets their hand up. 6'6", John Corker. See him? Got his finger on that. Knocked the ball off just enough. Boy, that's close. Corker is 6'6", and that made the difference.
Tony Fritsch walks over, shaking his head. There's more football to come at the Silverdome. Stay with us. The man of the hour, John Corker, the all-USFL performer. Let's see if we can see him deflect this field goal attempt, Kevin.
He was the defensive player of the year, and defense is more than making tackles. Perfectly timed leap. That ball was headed for the upright. See how the way the ball turns over in the air changed just as it hit Corker. I don't know how much of a hand he got on it, but I'm almost positive he got his finger on that, and that could be the difference in first place in the Central Division.
One little pinky was all it took, apparently, because that thing, as you said, the trajectory changed, missing by no more than 3 feet. The crowd, little extra football action for him today. Aver at the controls, 20-yard line, the give to John Williams. John changes direction, bursts across up to the 28-yard line. Tommy Myers makes the hit, and John Williams continues to perform very, very well today, his finest effort of the year.
It's a terrific hit by Tom Myers. You asked me about fatigue before. Defenses that move backwards get tired. Offenses moving in the other direction never get tired.
When you're moving the football, somehow, you just suck it up and keep it rolling, don't you? We're at the 8:07 mark of OT. If for some reason we go all the way down to the end of the 15-minute period and nobody scores, we'll have ourselves a 28 all time. We'll wait and see about that. Williams again bumps into his own man and drives up to about the 30. Might have gotten the first down. He is close. Kiki Diala is the man to make the stop for Houston, also helped by Cleveland Crosby. Jim Stanley on the sideline. A reprieve of sorts, as now they've got a shot after that big play by Corker. They come on here and stop that 4-game losing streak. Williams 135 yards, couple of touchdowns. Of course, the big play today for him, that 68-yard run for touchdown.
Williams has been a great back for Michigan all day, mostly early in the game and that one run in the third quarter, but now he's a very big performer because they're going to look for him to control the ball.
Corker on the sideline. We got a 3rd and a 1 situation. Cleo Miller, I don't know. Very close. Driven back hard by number 58, Ricky Young. All the fans were the official spots to football.
There's been incredible turn of events in this game. There was a dispute on the coin toss.
We're going to give it to him.
First down, Michigan. A dispute on the coin toss for the overtime period. Then on the ensuing kickoff, the ball hit off an offensive lineman, went back to Michigan. Michigan takes it down, punts. Houston goes back the other way, and they have a field goal block. This is incredible.
Almost afraid to see what's ahead, you know? The Panther enjoying himself on the sideline. He's not tired. Got plenty of energy left. The clock ticking down to 6:43, 1st and 10. 30-yard line. This is Williams. Plows for a couple yards. And I tell you, Kevin, a little more more conservative at this point than I would think they might be.
Well, you have to remember the profile of the Michigan team. What is the strength of the Michigan team?
Offensive line.
Anthony Carter is gone, and Anthony Carter out. It's the offensive line. You've got Godfrey, who signed with the Giants for $1.2 million over 4 years. I guess that speaks for itself. McGriff from the Steelers, Pinney from the Steelers, Radloff and Osborne, and all these guys can blow you out of there, so they'll go with their strength.
Anthony Carter on the sideline, looking on, hoping his teammates can pull this one out. Again, it's Williams, got some room across the 42 on his feet to the 43-yard line. Had some daylight that time. Hall brings him down, and the offensive line continues to give room for John Williams.
Let's watch him work here. Now remember, these guys are all big guys and pros. Look at that block on 93, and that's what opens the hole. Now that's what you call a block, as he pins him down. I think that was 55 Radloff to center, and Williams is only about 5'11", 205, but he'll hurt you if you try to tackle him.
5:23, 5:22, 42-yard line, another first down. Switch to set. Hebert over the middle. It's caught. Great play. Holloway. Couldn't tell if he had the football until he turned around, but he makes the play at the 45-yard line. Again, a first down for Michigan. And suddenly, the Panthers' offense is clicking.
Look at Hebert. He's got that soft touch, and he's able to lead receivers so well. Look how he kind of floats the ball in there. Now, Mitchell's got good coverage here, and look at the man coming from the other side, but he threads the needle. A super catch for a first down. For a first down on first down, which is a little unusual for Michigan. They've been going with the run here for the last 4 or 5 plays.
Leovic, the field goal kicker, is long as 56 yards. Keep that in mind. Williams again, big hole across the 36-yard line. They may not need Novo the way they're storming down the field.
Radloff and Pinney. The offensive center is Radloff. Pinney is that guard from the Steelers. 7 years. He's a Super Bowl veteran. And that's who you go to. When you need a play, that's who you go to. Look at the right side here. Pinney is number 74. That's a full block. It's a cross. Pinney gets out. He's able to lead the play. And Williams so quick through that hole, and now he's into the secondary. If he could keep his feet, he might have got down close to the 20-yard line.
There is Novo. Tony Fritz had his shot. Novo may get his. We're down to 3:37. Hebert. Plenty of time. Rolling, throwing. Got his man. That's Holloway. 25-yard line. Michigan fans on their feet. A gain of 16 yards. Another first down. Holloway makes the reception. Forward progress to 21.
This was second and short. A very, very odd call. Watch Bobby Hebert. Say what you will about him. With Crosby in his face, he throws a strike downfield to Holloway. If that ball was even off a little bit, it could have been intercepted. Just a tremendous play by Hebert and a good catch by that man, Derek Holloway. He's got 5 for 61. Pretty good day's work.
Yeah, but don't you think at this point the Michigan offensive line figures stronger, beginning to really wear down the Houston defensive line?
Well, I think that they've always had the advantage, and yeah, now in overtime, you betcha they really are. Look at Williams fight for yardage.
Williams battles for a couple more inside the 20.
That's a position. Excuse me, Corey. That's a positioning play. I think it's kind of. I kind of have a little problem with overtime in that they don't go for the touchdown. It takes the touchdown out of the game. But I guess we've had all the excitement that we could expect in this game here.
Yeah. Be satisfied with what you get.
Yeah, this has been a whale of a ball game.
2 minutes and 8 seconds. 2 minutes and 7 seconds. Jim Stanley going to have to make the decision as to when to bring Novo on. Stopping the action. Let's see what this is about.
Well, you wonder why they didn't go for the field goal at that point. Viola, he's got the longest field goal in the USFL this year, 56 yards. He's perfect from this distance. Hasn't missed at all this year from this distance, and he's 12 for 14. again, we must say that he has not attempted a field goal in 3 games, and we don't know that that's a factor or not.
A minute 58 to go in overtime, all tied up. Michigan going to have a shot at winning the whole thing. Back with that in a minute. 2 minutes to go in overtime. The man you see on your screen, Novo Biovic, number 3, native of Yugoslavia. Could very well all come down to him. The ball right now, the 19-yard line. Novo doing some concentrating, thinking about what may lie ahead. His longest kick of the year, 56 yards, did that against Birmingham, 8th week of the year.
Something that's interesting in this game, the punter for Michigan, David Greenwood, went out of the game early. Now, Biovic has been asked to punt this game, and that's a whole different motion. To make it interesting here. That's a whole different motion. It requires different muscles. It's a straight-ahead kick, not a soccer-style kick. He's a soccer-style field goal kicker. And so he's been punting the whole game and punting very well. But if you remember, his last punt was not all that great. He may have a little leg fix.
Well, at the same time, maybe the punting was something else to worry about. It's loosen him up a little bit mentally.
Yeah.
So, no, all kinds of ways to look at it.
We'll know in a little while.
Michigan going to try to pound it down a little further. Williams and Cleo Miller are your running backs. The give to Williams. Got room there, right side. Pulls his way down inside the 15. The 13-yard line. Calvin Eason is the man. Is it time for Novo now, Jim Stanley? We will see. Williams has set the career rushing record for himself as well as the Michigan team record. He is over 160 yards on the day.
How'd you like to get in on that conversation?
I actually think I saw a smile on Stanley's face, even if it was for a tenth of a second.
I wonder if he's asking Novo what he thinks. What do you think, Novo? Are we close enough?
Novo says, sure, coach. Let me in. 3rd and 3. Miller dives across. Kiki. Diella upsets him. I think now is the time.
I'm amazed that they've gone this long. With the record that Biovic has, I find it amazing that they haven't used him before this. But they're going to. The ball is on the right hash mark. Well, there he goes. He's headed back. There is some question whether or not they want to kick a field.
Well, perhaps if they've got a first down, they feel like they can milk it for a little more and give them a real chip shot. Who knows? A minute 4 to go, so they don't have all that much more time to play around with.
Yeah, but could you imagine the heat that Jim Stanley would take if they fumbled the ball? And every time you snap the ball, every time you hand the ball off, if these guys get through a gap and get a hand on it, something could happen. Frankly, I'd like to talk to Jim Stanley sometime and wonder what is going through his head. I could see if maybe Biovic was a 500 kicker or had problems from the right hash or the left hash, but the guy's got a great record.
We want to thank our spotter, Bill Friel, and our stats man, Joe Cox, who helped us in the booth today at the Silverdome. We have seen a lot of football today.
Yeah, it's
very exciting football.
Both these teams 6-4 records, but I think we're seeing the best of the United States football League, 2 of the best teams. I mean, these teams, the Houston offense speaks for itself, over 400 yards a game, and Michigan's record, I think, speaks for itself in spite of the 4 losses. They won 12 in a row over 2 years. They're the defending champions.
Biovic from the 34-yard line. He said his prayers, and now it's time to take care of business. Ball at the 19-yard line. He has not missed in his last 8 attempts. The place down. The boot, it is up. Looks good. And is. Michigan has won in overtime. Wow. Michigan 31, Houston 28. The Panthers' 4-game losing streak is over. The Houston Gamblers have lost their second consecutive game in OT. And there's some celebrating going on at the Silverdome. One more time.
Watch the concentration. That could have been a 60-yard field goal. He didn't even look up. He knew it was good when he kicked it. And this guy's a crowd. He's gliding back left.
Flying around.
Great way to end a 4-game losing streak in overtime. Very exciting.
What a game we have seen. The Michigan Panthers and the Houston Gamblers have scrapped all the way to the final minute of overtime. 31-28 is the final final score, and Novo is showing some emotion. A lot of it. We'll see it one more time. Once again, the final score, Michigan 31, Houston 28. Travel arrangements made through an emotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies to Hong Kong for more top business centers with Greek class Royal Pacific Service.